of teams from throughout North America culminate in Charlotte, North Carolina for the 2013 season at the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series Awards Ceremony here in the Queen City. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Matt Kentfield from C51.com. Joining me tonight, Elgin Trailer from C51.com, and we've had the pleasure of covering the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series throughout this wonderful season in 2013. And Elgin, just took a look outside here. So many drivers, so many crew members are here to celebrate an astonishing season in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series.
Lots of winners, lots of champions, and NASCAR doing it right here. As you can see behind us, lots of tables, the most tables they've ever had here. So many you can't get a spot for dinner tonight. So if you're all in here being honored for a champion and you get to have dinner, definitely special. Probably over 300 wins among the champions as well as the rookies. So a lot of talent here tonight.
The driver with the most wins that'll receive the biggest trophy of them all tonight, Lee Pulliam, for a second straight season, is the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series national champion. You will hear from him a little bit later in the show, as well as the top three finishers in the Whelen All-American Series points: Lee Pulliam, Deke McCaskill, and Rocco. And I'll tell you what, Elgin, second year in a row, Lee Pulliam, he just stomped the competition in the Whelen All-American Series.
You know, we were looking at the stats, and he went from the start of the season when the points came out to the end of the season as far as winning the championship. He was on top every single week, kind of like the NCAA football poll, number one all the way through. There was no doubt about it. Great season. 2 in a row. It's been done before, and of course we're going to have to ask him, can he do it 3 times in a row? But we'll talk about 2013 and all the accolades and everything that went on this year before we start talking about next year.
More than 50 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series tracks had cars in competition in 2013. The list is growing for 2014. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes here on NASCARHometracks.com. And I'll tell you what, we see it week in and week out, Elgin. All these teams work so hard to hopefully get onto a table here in Charlotte to celebrate this season. It is an event like no other for the Whelen All-American Series. You might be used to seeing NASCAR Sprint Cup Series award ceremonies in Las Vegas and previously in New York City. Here in Charlotte, for these local racers, they do it just as big as they do for the big boys.
Definitely. And, you know, guys from far away, they probably never get the opportunity to Charlotte. You know, guys that win championships from California, from Maine, maybe they've never been to the North Carolina area. So this is like a vacation for them. They chance to come here, get to see how NASCAR does it, Charlotte.
One guy who made a long trip across the country to celebrate his achievements in 2013, coming all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada. He will be our first guest here on NASCARHometracks.com. He is Jay Beasley, the 2013 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series Rookie of the Year. Looking dapper as always, Jay. Welcome to Charlotte, and welcome to our broadcast from the Red Carpet Show here tonight. How excited are you to celebrate a great season here in 2013 here in Charlotte?
It means a lot. To celebrate here in North Carolina is just amazing, and the atmosphere is amazing, and to be here with my team it's amazing.
You're from Vegas, the city of lights, man. You see all the glitz and glamour, but here to celebrate this, you've got a chance to look around the room and see national champions cars here, and just how big of a production this is. You've got to be pretty impressed with what's happening here to celebrate this season.
Yeah, NASCAR has done an amazing job of promoting what's going on in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series, and just everything that they're putting into this is a dream come true. And it just makes that fire inside of me and making it in the cup just that much more.
You know, Jay, we were talking off stage before we got the show started. We were talking about 2012. You went out, the start of the season, boom, you backed the car into the wall. You're basically out the whole season rebuilding the car. Talk about what the off-season was like, because you couldn't race in 2012. And then, of course, you come out in 2013. Had to be so much more rewarding because you were basically on the sideline for the entire 2012 season.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to take a couple steps back, take a huge leap forward. And this might sound a little weird, but I'm happy that it happened because it made the fire inside of the passion, the perseverance of wanting it that much more, of working that much harder to dig deep into and to just to do what I love to do and to do it for a living and to live, eat, and breathe it every day and to love it.
Out there at the bullring at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, I got a chance to go out there last year, and you guys beat and bang just like every other NASCAR home track, and to be able to achieve as many victories as you did this year, to get the Whelen All-American Series Rookie of the Year title, and just be in
contention almost for the entire national championship pretty much all season as well. How difficult, and what kind of racing would the fans experience going out there to the bull ring to watch you and your compadres race?
You know, the race car drivers at the bull ring did an amazing job. The racing was very intense, and it was the first race out. I was battling with Scott Gaffarini for the whole race. Nose to tail, there was a little bumping going on, so that was the first race. The second race, I battled with Alex Haas, another really good, great driver that I've been able to race against this year, learned a lot from him. Same thing, nose to tail, you know, hard racing, won that race, and I was like, oh my gosh, if every race is going to be like this, it's going to be crazy. So to win at the bull ring, which is an amazing, amazing track, amazing facility, it means a lot to win there and to dominate that track and to win the open comp. It feels good. You know, the other drivers have taught me a lot, and it just means a lot.
Fans, we're talking to Jay Beasley, the 2013 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series Rookie of the Year, dominated the season out at the bull ring at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We'll just give you a quick little reset here. We understand there was a couple of audio problems at the beginning of the show. My name is Matt Kenfield from Speed51.com. This is Elgin Trailer with Speed51.com. We're here in the city of Charlotte, the Queen City, to celebrate the 2013 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series as part of their championship night here in Charlotte. And like we mentioned, talking to Jay Beasley, and he dominated the season in Elgin. There was one big $10,000 paycheck that this guy took home at the end of the season. That was a real feather in his cap.
You're reading my mind. It wasn't a NASCAR point race. The NASCAR point race and the championship, of course, had ended, but they have a big open comp race, kind of like the Martinsville race we see out here in North Carolina with late model stocks. Doesn't count towards the points, but 40, 50 guys show up. The best in super late model racing out on the West Coast show up. And you defended the turf. That had to feel really good to end the season. Of course, $10,000. Everybody likes big checks like that.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, I felt really good with myself, but more with my team, because that was when we needed to pull together the most. That was when we needed to dig deep, focus on our car, focus on us, and do what we had been doing the whole season and have fun and love what we're doing, you know, and enjoy ourselves. And we came out on top, and I love my guys, and I thank my guys every day. And what they've done this whole season is why I'm here to this day. This is a team sport.
It absolutely is. And towards the end of the season, you had the chance to do a couple of NASCAR K&N Pro Series West races, and I know that had to have been big for your career. How important is that to start making that next step into the K&N Pro Series West?
It's really good to get my feet wet. Car's different, weighs more horsepower, different tire, different people, whole different crowd. So I was really happy that I had made that step forward, getting my feet wet, and now I'm just really looking forward to next season and being in the K&N East or West.
Now, you said earlier in the year in a story on NASCARHometracks.com that in the next 2 to 3 years, you see yourself in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. What's it going to take for Jay Beasley to have that opportunity?
A lot of luck. My stars need to be lined up, and I need to keep on being me. I need to keep on being Jay Beasley, and I need to keep on having that fire, and I need to keep on persevering and keep on digging and love what I do. And I'm excited, and I do see myself in 3 years in the Nationwide and having fun and doing what I love to do. So I'm excited.
What about for 2014? What do you got on the schedule?
I'm actually waiting for Revolution Racing to see if they're going to contact me back, to see if I'm going to make Revolution Racing, and hopefully I get a K&N East ride out of it, and another family that I can come into that's a NASCAR family sanctioned, so that'll be a really big deal. And I'm just really fortunate, really happy with what's going on, and I'm really looking forward to 2014 and just being with you guys and cars behind me and champion banners everywhere. I have the passion, the desire even more, so I'm ready, and I really appreciate you guys having me on the show today.
Folks across the world on NASCARHometracks.com, keep your eye on this guy, 21-year-old Jay Beasley, coming for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series ranks in 2014. Hopefully, we'll wait on that call from Rev Racing, who certainly has a great pedigree of putting drivers in victory lane in the K&N Pro Series East. Jay Beasley, thanks so much for joining us tonight, and go have some fun and celebrate this Rookie of the Year title.
Thank you so much.
All right, there he is, Jay Beasley, the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series Rookie of the Year for 2013. We'll let Jay get out of his seat and go party with his guys, and we'll bring in our next guest here on NASCARHometracks.com, Nicole Krager from the NASCAR Foundation. Jay, thank you so much. We'll take the mic from you. Great job tonight. Absolutely. Nicole Krager from the NASCAR Foundation. They had quite a shindig this morning. Nicole, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us here on NASCARHometracks.com. And understand this morning you guys had, a wonderful presentation. And tell the folks at home a little bit about what happened this morning.
Sure. Well, it's always nice when you get to come to breakfast and they give a big check to you. So the NASCAR Foundation was thrilled to receive $3,000 this morning from the folks at the Home Tracks banquet. We did a little fun sort of game, Chips for Charity, we called it, and folks were able to make a $10 donation to the NASCAR Foundation and have a chance at winning one of about 35 different prizes.
A lot of people, of course, they see the commercials, donate to the NASCAR Foundation, everything like that. But, doing a little research, you guys have a lot of big events, the 24-hour event that you have at
Sure.
Daytona and some other stuff. Talk about some of those events, and which one is your favorite? You got to tell me which one's your favorite.
Well, that's like picking your favorite child. We do have a couple events that will come up here in January. We have the Taste of the 24 event, which does take place during the Rolex 24-hour race. We take over the back stretch of suites. So we have 24 restaurants that come in and take each suite, and folks come and pay for their ticket, and then they come and sample all the food across all 24 suites. And the best part of that is that all of the money raised will go to sponsor scholarships for kids that are graduating in the Volusia County area.
That's fantastic. All the work that the NASCAR Foundation does throughout the year, it's not just, planning 2 or 3 events. It really is a 365-day process.
Sure, yeah. We just finished up in Vegas last week. We gave our highest honor, which is our Betty Jane France Humanitarian Award, named after our chairwoman and founder, Betty Jane France. With that award, we had 4 finalists who were all guaranteed $25,000 for their charities, and the winner walked away with $100,000 for his charity for the volunteer work that he does on behalf of children.
One of the programs you guys have is the NASCAR Dreams program. And, with your great website, which we'll give people that in a few minutes
Sure.
so they can help out and make some donation. The NASCAR Dreams is one of the coolest things I've seen. Talk about what it's like at some of those events where children get to meet their heroes and be at the racetrack in opportunities where they may not be there, whether it's an illness or something else.
Right, that's a really great program. Not only do we take children who might be ill or chronically ill to the track to meet their hero, but we also have branched out in the last year taking school-age children to the track to teach them about our sport, get them at that young age, get them learning how, if they're good in science, technology, engineering, and math, gosh, you could go and be the next Chad Knaus, you could go and work on one of the teams, be a race car driver, use those skills to have a career that you might have not realized you could have been a part of.
Let the fans at home, because we've got viewers from all over the world right now, if they want to get involved in the NASCAR Foundation and in the various projects that you have involved, how can they do that?
Sure, you can go to our website to learn more. It's nascar.com/foundation. We do have volunteer opportunities at the track. You can get involved there. Of course, donations are always helpful. They help us pay for our programs and services. We like to say in the NASCAR community, every child deserves a champion. And I got to tell you, the NASCAR fans are the best. They really care about our racing communities and do a lot to help our children. So it's really a great community to be a part of.
Absolutely. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Hope you enjoy the evening here. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.
That's great. Nicole Krager from the NASCAR Foundation. Again, NASCAR.com/foundation to get involved in the various projects with the NASCAR Foundation. Looking forward to 2014. Thank you so much.
We are too.
All right. Nicole Krager again from the NASCAR Foundation. And I'll tell you what, Elgin, there's numerous charities. Certainly the NASCAR Foundation Motor Racing Outreach involved in NASCAR. And, a lot of those organizations help promote the short track racer like we have here that we're celebrating with the Whelan All-American Series banquet. And the short track racer, they don't just say that it's the soul of NASCAR with the NASCAR Home Tracks program. It's not just a slogan. It really is the truth, because these are the racers that someday will be in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
Whether it works up or down, for the fans too, it's a gateway into racing, whether you start out as a fan of the Whelan All-American Series or move up, or NASCAR fans, they may watch it on TV, but they may have never been to South Boston, Motor Mile, Hickory, some of those tracks, and they go out to the short track stuff and they get hooked just like we do.
Absolutely. One guy who's definitely gotten bit by the short track bug is none other than NASCAR VP of Touring and Weekly Series, George Silberman. George, we look forward to having you up here on stage here at NASCARHometracks.com. Come on up, grab your microphone, and like I said earlier in the night, if we haven't made you a star on this show in the last couple of years, we're going to do it tonight, George, because I'll tell you what, this is another phenomenal party here in Charlotte to honor these weekly and local racers.
Well, and let's be very clear, I am not the star. You guys are the moderators. The stars are going to be behind us on the stage tonight.
And all the stars that are here from the weekly series, certainly Lee Pulliam and Deke McCaskill and Keith Rocco and guys like Woody Pitcat that, fell a little bit short in the national picture, but they're still big names around their local tracks. Just how important is that to honor those weekly racers in an event like this?
Well, absolutely. And what this event is all about is it really is a who's who of short track racing. But you're also going to see tonight a lot of young stars, names you may not have heard of before. And a lot of them up there really have what it takes.
Real quick before we get to the big meat of the stuff, of what you've been talking about this week, a lot of fun stuff with that. But got to ask you, we're all in suits and ties and everything. We need some name tags out here for these champions. There's no way that we can name all these champions in their headshots. How about you? Are you just walking around introducing yourself to people? Because I don't think there's anybody here that knows everybody.
No, and that's kind of the beauty of bringing everybody together here at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I mean, what a perfect setting for this event. This the hall that honors the greats of our sport, and you've got some folks who are going to be on the stage tonight that are the future greats of our sport.
Now, obviously, George, there's been a lot of talk over the last 24, 48 hours about some of the points adjustments for the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series moving forward for 2014. Certainly some bonus points available for drivers that are able to win races by passing cars from outside the top 10. How important was that for you at NASCAR, in those meetings to help, kind of shift a little bit of the point structure and reward some of those drivers that do have to come from deeper in the field?
As we look at our points championship, doesn't matter whether it's Sprint Cup, what we're doing on our weekly program, or what have you, it's important for us to maintain consistency so that as we look, we always want to make adjustments as opposed to reinventing the wheel, particularly at the weekly level. But we've been really debating this for a number of years, recognizing that you've got some real talent that doesn't necessarily always start on the front row. How do you recognize and reward that in the point system in the right way? And we really debated it. Where we landed, we feel very good about, because we think this is a way to do it without upsetting the apple cart or anything else. It's more a tweak, but it's a tweak. And based on the to today, they all really like it. And the competitors, we have a lot of activities that go on during this week. Obviously, tonight is the banquet, but just as we do in Vegas for our Sprint Cup Series, this is an entire Champions Week. We opened with our iRacing Challenge earlier this week, which was a neat event. But there's a lot of events, both public and private. And one of the private ones we do was last night we did it at Hendrick Motorsports, where we had all of our NASCAR Whelen All-American Series weekly state and provincial champions for kind of a private dinner. And so I had a chance for just some one-on-ones, and it's interesting, I didn't bring it up. They brought it up about the new point system, and of the drivers I spoke to, they reacted very positively to it.
Is that drivers from the Northeast, certainly with the handicapping system, as well as in the Southeast and throughout the country where there's different point structures?
Because we talked about it a little during cocktails before, and the drivers I had sitting at my at the table during dinner included a modified driver from the Northeast, a late model driver from the Southeast, and a dirt driver from the Midwest. And all of them were kind of, they said, hey, this is very fair, and drivers being drivers, the cream's always going to rise to the top.
Do you think this might actually allow drivers to want to lobby with tracks to say, hey, why don't we just, if you're the fast guy, why don't you start us a little further back? Maybe change some policies that are already in place in areas where, like you were saying, guys are starting on the front row.
Well, we're always very respectful of the fact that different strategies work in different markets. We always believe that we are not going to dictate to our local track operators exactly the format they have to use for their racing, for whatever. And so, in certain parts of the country, certain formats just have evolved as tradition, whether it's straight up starting, inverts, or what have you. The nice thing about this tweak is it kind of treats everybody the same. It doesn't say that you have to do something or change your rules. One of the other changes we made is the number of cars we count in the field for the official points. It had been 22, now it's 18. And we got a lot of very favorable responses to that as well. And one of the things we hadn't even really thought of, again, we were just trying to come up with the fairest tweak we could across all 55 of our racetracks. But a couple of promoters said to me, this solves a little bit of a starting part problem we have at the end of the season. And quite honestly, that's not even where we were coming from.
Sure, absolutely. And George, we mentioned earlier at the top of our segment here is, the youth movement and the new faces coming in. Certainly the University of Northwestern Ohio recognized that as well with their new Youth Achievement Award with NASCAR, recognizing drivers at their tracks as well as on a national level, age 14 to 18, and recognizing champions, the youngsters, the youth movement of the sport. And I know from the home tracks perspective, that is a huge market in the local racing scene, are those teenagers working their way up.
Absolutely, and it's really been kind of a remarkable story. When we took the intentional step a number of years ago to lower the age limits, not only in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series, but in our regional touring series and other, that was part of a long-term strategy. We thought we would see some impact immediately, but we really thought we would see it more over time. Well, we were wrong. We saw a huge response right out of the box. Even in the first year of lowering the age limits in series like our K&N Pro Series or in our weekly racing, we had a huge influx of really talented young drivers coming into the pipeline. And, someday some of those folks will be in Sprint Cup Series.
And efforts like that, and certainly the Whelan All-American Series as a whole, wouldn't happen if it wasn't for UNOH and Whelan and a long list of partners that help support the Whelan All-American Series and the Home Tracks program.
Absolutely. I mean, Whelan Engineering, our series sponsor, they're a remarkable company. And I don't know whether it's a record, but this year they are actually sponsoring 4 NASCAR series. I don't know that that's happened in the past, but you think about it. They're sponsoring the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series. They're sponsoring our NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, our NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour, and then this year they just came on board additionally to sponsor our NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. So they've really gone global with us as well.
Absolutely. And the man of the hour tonight, Lee Pulliam, and I know you got to know him quite a bit, certainly at this Night of Champions last year, and watching him race over the last couple of years. You have to be, you've got to be honored to have a guy like Lee, who's been able to be such an ambassador for the short track program, represent as your champion for a second year in a row.
Oh, absolutely. And I've known Lee for longer than simply last year, and I think a lot of folks in short track racing have. I mean, Lee is the real deal. Winning back-to-back national championships. I mean, put it in perspective, over the entire history of the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series, our weekly racing program, we've only had 2 other drivers win more than 1, and let alone, having win 2 back-to-back, huge accomplishment.
Talking about the new things, and I always like new things and adding numbers up, but we got some new tracks joining for next year. And, we'll talk about the tracks. Utica Rome is one of them, and East Carolina and Airborne is the other. But do you guys just sit down and go, all right, well, we got to add 3 to 5 tracks, or we got to add 7 tracks, or our goal is 6 tracks? Because you always seem to wow us with the tracks, because we don't know when they're coming. They may be late in the year like these have come. There may be some more coming for next year. But do you guys just sit down and say, we have to have a quota, or is it just kind of go as you go when getting new tracks?
No, our strategy nowadays is quality over quantity. We have 55 tracks in our program this year. Still remains to be seen exactly how many we'll have, because there may be an addition or 2. But, the tracks you just mentioned are quality tracks. Utica Rome, a lot of history there. The backstory on that is actually Jerry Cook was a little involved in that process too. I know you guys are surprised to hear that.
Interesting.
And then our 4th track, which you didn't mention, which I don't know if we've even officially mentioned, but I'll mention to your fans, what the heck, is Autodrome Saint-Eustache in Quebec in Canada. Which is great. They had been a member of the program a number of years ago. They've come back. They have a strong weekly program again, really wanted to get back in. And so, we have that appeal on both sides of the border.
Absolutely. Well, George, we hope you have a great time here tonight. And tell you what, in about 24 hours tomorrow night, we'll talk with you more on NASCARHometracks.com about the touring series with the K&N Pro Series, the Whelan Modified Tours, and so on. So have some fun tonight. We'll do it again tomorrow night.
Very good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, George Silverman from NASCAR. And I'll tell you what, Elgin, we always have a great time meeting all the NASCAR champions, and certainly George is a testament to that. Just how much fanfare that goes into this race. And one guy who's going to celebrate in a way a little bit different than he did a couple of years ago when he was the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series national champion. But you know what? He still had a pretty good year. Top 3 in national points, 3rd to be exact. He is none other than Wallingford, Connecticut's Keith Rocco. And Kid Rock, they used to call him. Now they just call him Champ. And 3rd place this year, Keith. But welcome to NASCARHometracks.com, Matt Kentfield, Speed51.com. This is Elgin Trailer. And Keith, another great season. A little bit short of that championship, but you still got to be pretty proud of how things went this year.
Yeah, I mean, once you get the first one off your belt, I mean, you really can't be disappointed in finishing on a podium.
This year was phenomenal for you, and if it wasn't for a guy named Lee Pulliam, who knows what would have happened, and certainly Deke McCaskill had a great season as well, but all those wins throughout Connecticut, Waterford, Stafford, Thompson, another track championship at Waterford. Talk about your season and just how successful it really was.
No, I mean, we had an awesome season. I mean, we did things this year that we've never done in the past. As a car owner, I won 2 track championships, and on top of that, we ran a late model team, Scott Fern and I, and, running 2 divisions at 1 racetrack and winning races in both of them and winning the championship. I mean, that's, people just try to figure out how you do it, so that was an awesome thing to do.
Of course, we're listening, or people are watching us all around the globe, but maybe we need to back up a little bit and let people know how competitive things are up there. We're all from New England here. We know what it's like up there, but 3 nights, 3 tracks within a 100-mile radius, talking about Thompson, talking about Stafford, talking about Waterford, and you have to battle the same guys every single night and different guys at different tracks. It is tough. I mean, just talk about how close you have to be with the drivers, because I've seen some funny stuff up there with some goofy videos when it rains out and stuff like that, but how competitive it is when you have to race the same guys twice a week, 3 times a week. It's really hard to do.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, it's a good thing because you know who you're racing against, but other times, you rub somebody the wrong way and you got to deal with them the next night. But I mean, the competition in New England is unbelievable. I mean, you got Ryan Preece, the modified tour champ. You got Doug Colby, another modified tour champ. You got Ted Christopher, a national champ, a modified tour champ. Woody Pitcat. The list just goes on and on with the people you're racing against. These are drivers, that are in a better caliber of a division than I am, and there's no lack for talent in New England.
24 wins at Waterford Speed Bowl this year amongst 4 different divisions, from late models to SKs, midgets, and you name it, there at Waterford Speed Bowl. That's a tough place. That is a true bull ring where, the Armco barriers jump out to get you, and you're fender to fender or Nerf bar to Nerf bar the entire race. What does it say about you to have such a successful season at a place like Waterford, to win 24 races like that?
No, I mean, it's just absolutely awesome. I mean, I was so fortunate to end up with the people I ended up with and the cars I ended up with and the people backing me, because I mean, that's let's face it, that's 90% of the battle. You can only race the equipment you have as good as it is. So I was fortunate to jump in great cars, and that's probably one of my most favorite places to race. 2x2 racing, side by side. It could be a little rough sometimes, but that's what fans want to see.
Over the last couple of years, we've actually seen you work your way up into the touring series, run a couple of events towards the end of the year. Know you want to be on the tour, but would you trade it for racing as much as you're racing now? Would you like say, all right, we're going to run 90 times a year, going to do exactly what you're doing now, or you can only run 15 times a year and run on the tour, run a little bit in the South? Would you trade it? Because I think it would be hard to give up all that racing that you get to do in Connecticut.
To be honest with you, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I love passing cars. I could race 90 times a year, or I could race 15 times a year. I don't want to sacrifice what I have. It might not be the modified tour, and it might not be the spotlight of NASCAR, but to me, it's a lot of fun, and it's what I love doing.
Let me ask you this, Keith. As we mentioned with George Silverman earlier, some of the bonus points and the restructuring of the points program. Now you're if you win the race from deeper than 10th, you get 2 more national points than you did previously. For a guy that races at those handicapping qualifying tracks like you do, you got to be pretty excited about that, and maybe that can jump you back into the top spot. Is that how you're looking at 2014 now?
Yeah, all I could say is that definitely put a smile on my face when I heard that.
When you have to come from the back like that, and you see guys from the South that, when they start pretty much where they qualify at a lot of places, do you keep track on what guys like Lee Pulliam and Deke McCaskill are doing, from a week-to-week perspective, or do you just kind of stick to what you're doing?
Yeah, I just stick to what I'm doing. I worry about myself. You hear along the way, or you see it on, the Southern Twitter, like Race 22, you'll see that they, keep us updated, but at the same time, I was talking to Lee's father and his crew chief earlier, and they were asking questions. What do you think of that point ceiling? I told them, I start 12th or worse every week, and they asked how many laps I ran. I said usually we run 30, 35 laps, and they were baffled. I mean, we don't have it easy in New England.
You don't take it easy. You got to come through those packs. I've seen some of those races. Not as many as Matt Kenfield here, of course, being a Stafford guy, but you got to come through those packs. But to come through those packs results in championships. You got 7 NASCAR championships, counting the tracks, up there at Thompson, Waterford, and Stafford. It's been a while since Stafford, so we're going to put that on your goals for next year. But 7, the most is 17. I'm not sure if anybody's told you that. The most is 17. Do you eye that number, or do you got to catch TC first?
I mean, we'll stick with what we're doing for now, but we're real happy with what we got, and I mean, to be honest with you, that's the first time I heard the most somebody's had. But the way things been going, if I run all the races, we're good for at least 1, if not 2 championships a year. So we'll see how things go, but we're really happy with the accomplishments we made along the way.
Racing as much as you do, though, Keith, I mean, a couple years ago you got married, you got a kid on the way now. I mean, are you still going to keep up that hectic racing schedule with the family life getting amping up a little bit more?
Yeah, to be honest with you, my wife's awesome. She was brought up around racing. My father-in-law loves it. It was real exciting at the World Series. He wasn't racing. I says, you helping anybody? He says, no. I says, well, why don't you give me a hand? I says, I could use some help. And, this could really be good. It could really turn into a family thing. Hopefully he'll retire soon and just become a full-time guy on my team. I had a lot of fun with him helping me.
We got to ask you, when is that first race in 2014 going to be? Is there a possibility it could be at Daytona, could be at New Smyrna, maybe trying to get some points to get ahead of the game and everybody? What's the deal?
No, with the amount of races I run, as much as I'd like to do something like that, it's just not possible. I mean, it takes so long to prepare. You don't realize it, but there's 5 cars we got to prepare for opening weekend. I mean, some people prepare 1 or 2. I mean, we got to prepare 5, and once it starts, it don't stop till the season's over.
Now that you're here celebrating, another great season, you've done speeches at this banquet before. Are you a little bit more comfortable than you were? Because I remember talking to you the first time that you had to give a big speech down here. You were a little on edge. You don't want to let people know that, but you were sweating a little bit. Are you a little bit more comfortable with the public speaking thing and everything like that goes around with Champion Week?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm so comfortable down here. It's like coming down here and seeing the family, your distant relatives. I mean, you guys and everybody that works behind the stage, and they just put such an awesome banquet on. And it's funny, I remember one of the first few races I won, Matt Buckler was announcing, and it was like pulling teeth to get a couple words out of me, and now I don't shut up sometimes.
Absolutely. Well, Keith, we hope that you have a great time here in Charlotte. In 2014, can you let the fans know a little bit? You said you're preparing 5 cars for the Thompson Icebreaker and everything like that at the beginning of the season. What is on your schedule for 2014?
We'll have 3 full-time SKs at all 3 tracks. We'll have the MRS car for the Connecticut tracks. We're going to have, the late model for Stafford, for Waterford. And I think we're going to try to compete a full schedule at Thompson with that. And hopefully we could put something together for a few tour races, maybe all the Connecticut shows.
Well, keep an eye on Keith Rocco wherever he might be. Hey, if you're in Connecticut, you're going to see him at one of those 3 local racetracks between Stafford, Thompson, and Waterford. And Keith, it's been a pleasure as always, and have fun tonight with your whole crew.
No, thank you.
All right, Keith Rocco, 3rd in NASCAR Whelen All-American Series points for the 2013 season. Came up just a little bit short, but Elgin, you were talking about it. I mean, he's a 6-time state champion for the state of Connecticut, and that in itself, when you're racing against guys like you mentioned, Ted Christopher, Ryan Priest, Woody Pitkat, it's not an easy thing to do week in and week out. This guy did it, and it's almost unbelievable.
You actually wowed me with that stat when you told me that. He won 6 consecutive state championships in Connecticut. That's pretty impressive. But what is it about these guys from Connecticut? It always seems like there's like 2 or 3 guys running 800 races a year.
It's in the water. We just love our racing up there.
I mean, I don't want to say this about Keith Rocco, with any insults or anything, but it's like he's become a Ted Christopher type person, always would run everything, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's running everything he can to get laps out there. TC, to me, a guy from Maine, that was the first time I saw somebody doing that. You being from Connecticut, you probably are more accustomed to seeing a lot of guys doing that, but Rocco is the modern day TC and just chalking up some wins over 110 NASCAR wins between Division I and Division II.
You want to know why he's like Ted Christopher? That's actually where he learned the craft of modified racing. He was on Teddy's pit crew for a long time. Certainly the Rocco boys, the son of Ronnie Rocco, a longtime competitor around New England. And they got to work on Teddy's crew for a few years and learn the craft of working on these modifieds and certainly driving them. And it's paid off with a 3rd place in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series points in 2013. Great year for Keith Rocco, and even better year for our next guest. He finished 2nd in NASCAR Whelen All-American Series national points. He is none other than North Carolina state champion Deke McCaskill. Deke, welcome to NASCARHometracks.com. Matt Kentfield, Elgin Trailer with Speed 51. And I'll tell you what, Deke, it was a fun year to watch you because, you know, every year when you win a couple races at the start, you always say, hey, man, we're just here to win races. Little did you know that towards the end of the year, you would have a shot at the national championship, but you're here celebrating a 2nd place in national standings.
Yeah.
That's got to be pretty cool for you.
It's awesome, man. These last couple of days here in Charlotte is just amazing. This is my first time coming to the banquet, and it really wants me to come back next year, maybe win the thing. But yeah, like you said earlier, we just go out and start winning races, and next thing you know, we're tied for the national titleship in middle of the part of the year. So we started going hard and going after it, but come up just a little bit short. But we still had just an awesome year. Real proud of my team. Real proud to be here.
And 1st and 2nd in the standings came down to you and Lee Pulliam. And it's not like when it was Keith Rocco and Philip Morris or something like that where they don't race each other. You and Lee battled week in, week out, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week for that national championship. And that's rare in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series that guys race head-to-head for victories that lead to a national championship.
I know, that's what somebody reminded me of. I think it's been 20 years since somebody's went 1 and 2 like that. So that was really neat. Like you said, we were going neck and neck, qualifying beside each other, rubbing a little bit. Just really a fun year competitive-wise, and enjoyed racing with Lee. He's definitely deserved this national champion. I've said this all along. He was better at Motor Mile in South Boston, and I was better at Kenley. I just had 1 track. He had 2 tracks, and we were able to sneak a couple of wins in. And this is my first year I've ever won at 3 different racetracks. So it was an awesome year, man. I'm real proud.
You mentioned Southern National. You say that's the track where you bested him. Is that something you can take going into next year? Because we actually looked up the stats. 10 races, 5 and 5 even, but you won 4 of those 5 races that he was in, which is pretty impressive. Is that something to build on for next year, thinking, okay, we can compete for the national championship because we know we beat Lee head-to-head in something at least?
Yeah, bad thing about it, these last couple of years, he's getting better. He's getting better. He's getting better every year.
But you can get better.
So I got to get better. That's right. What's up, buddy?
Hi, honey.
C.E. Falk, ladies and gentlemen, he didn't have quite the season that he had last year, so he's not even on the stage with us this year. So, of course, he's got to tease his buddy Deke McCaskill. But, Deke, you mentioned battling with Lee. Now, at Martinsville, the Virginia's for Racing Lovers 300. You guys had a little run in there with one of the last restarts, and I don't know if you noticed, but he's got a number 08 decal on the right front headlight of his race car right here. Have you guys had a chance to discuss that incident that took you both out of contention, or is that still
no.
up in the air?
Yeah, no, we haven't talked. We haven't spoke about it. I will say I apologize. It was all my fault. Just a racing deal. Martinsville, $25,000 to win, and I just put my car in the wrong position, and it's something I got to live with the rest of my life. And definitely, if I had to do it again, I wouldn't do it. But everybody tells me that's racing, so we move on.
I was going to say, Elgin, real quick, I mean, that's a lot of money, and that's a prestigious race for the Martinsville Clock, and not a whole lot of other guys would not have done what Deke McCaskill did there.
I had wrecked my mother to win that race. But let's go to a race that was a little more fulfilling. I wanted to ask you about it. August 2nd, you probably don't remember the date, but it was at Motor Mile. You beat Lee head-to-head on his home track in a green-white checkered finish. Did that just energize you for the end of the season, thinking, wow, we can really run head-to-head with him, even on his own turf?
Yeah, that was the biggest win of the year, hands down, man. That was just great. That track has been hard for us, and we were able to beat him there at his track. Just what a great facility. Just really had fun racing up there. But yeah, that set the tone there. I'm like, wow, we still have a shot at this thing. And it just come down to just a couple of races there where we didn't have good luck at. You know, we went to South Boston on the July 4th race and broke a hub. That hurt us that night. But I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be second. If just like I said, just a great year.
You were the dominator at Southern National Motorsports Park in Kenly, North Carolina this year, and that place, I like to call it a super speedway bull ring because it offers just about everything. It is fast, it's high banked, but you are door to door every single week. Talk about the competition level there at Southern National.
It's picked up a lot this year. You know, we had Tommy Lemons come down, Justin Snow's come down, and picked up a couple more guys, and the competition's got a lot better than it was in 2012. So had a lot of fun. The track's fast, but you know, the track's wearing out, and it's real abrasive on tires. So as we run, tire wear is a key. The last 50 laps, you have to really save your stuff. So next year it's probably going to be even worse. But that puts in for good cars. I mean, good competition and great races.
Deke, one good thing about winning or not winning the championship, finishing second, is you actually get to roast the champion a little bit. We could do it a little bit right now. We had an iRacing event here at the Hall of Fame a couple days ago, and Lee Pulliam was just awful, just absolutely awful. He had everything on the track. It's almost like they gave him the broken car just to kind of, you know, play with him a little bit. But do you do some iRacing? And please go up to him and say, I heard you were pretty rough in the iRacing, because he rolled over several times.
I heard about that, and I was, I hope I can do that one day, because I used to do a lot of sim racing back in 2000, 2002, and I enjoyed it, man. I used to race with Denny Hamlin and even Keselowski when he got started. That was a big hobby of mine. I really enjoyed doing it, but I haven't done it in a while. But yes, I would love to get in there and mix it up with them guys.
Well, maybe we can get you on that next year. Maybe we could just show up and sign up. Yeah. Surprised we didn't have any drivers doing that. I want to ask you about the points. They got some changes to the NASCAR points this year. Going to reward guys for starting further back in the field and moving on up. What do you think about the structure of the points? We've heard all positive. Everyone's excited about it, and it's just going to make the points closer next year.
I like it. It's going to hurt me, but I like it. It's going to put, you know, sitting on the pole, leading laps, winning races, it gets boring. And yeah, it's going to throw a little twist in it if you want to elect to start 10th to get them extra bonus points. It's going to help guys up north. I think Keith Rocco, Ryan Priest, them guys are going to be really tough next year. So it's going to be exciting. I think it should bunch up the whole top 10, top 15 a lot closer than what it was this year.
Does it amaze you how much they can compare apples to oranges and make the system work? You know, a couple years ago, Rocco was the champion. Of course, Pulliam's won the championship. You know, down here we've had Sellers win the championship. You know, we've had Philip Morris win the championship. And we're doing apples and oranges. It's different cars, different states, different places, different races. And NASCAR tries all these different things, tweaks it, and it seems like it just gets better. I mean, I wouldn't want to have that job, but as somebody that's done it for several years, are you just more impressed when they make these decisions and go, oh, wow, I never would have thought to do that?
You're right. It always works out to the best, and it's amazing. Like you said, we got modifieds up north. We got, you know, some dirt car modifieds out west, but you know, it's your best 18 races. Whoever can do the best 18 is the national championship, and I think it's very, I like the way it is.
Going towards 2014 now, Deke, same thing that you did pretty much in 2013, Southern National, that, you know, going between Motor Mile and Southern National and everything like that, going for that championship?
That's what we're looking forward to, you know. You know, we don't have a lot of sponsorship, so we got to keep the car in one piece, try not to get in under budget there, and as long as we're winning races running up front, yeah, we're going to go for it.
Look for Deke McCaskill to maybe leapfrog Lee Pulliam into the national championship for the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series in 2014. Deke, thanks so much for joining us, and enjoy your night here in Charlotte.
Appreciate y'all guys having me on.
All right, Deke McCaskill, second in NASCAR Whelen All-American Series points. Next guest here on NASCARHometracks.com needs no introduction, certainly for the short track fans. He is the man who keeps a lot of these series, including the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series, going. He is the Vice President of Whelen Engineering. He is Phil Kurz. And come on up, Phil. You can come on up and anytime and join us here on NASCARHometracks.com. Welcome back to Charlotte, Phil, and I know that you truly enjoy a night like this to honor the racers in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series that battle week in and week out.
This is the best part of the season right here. I'm having a great time. We got great tracks. We got great drivers. We've had a good day today, give out a lot of awards. And yeah, this is a lot of fun.
And I see you at a lot of the tracks between the Whelen All-American Series, the Whelen Modified Tours and such. And you are an executive certainly at Whelen, but you're a race fan. That's really what pushed you and Whelen into this whole sport in the first place.
Yeah, it really is. My first race was 1954 at Waterford Speedbowl, so I'm sort of dating myself, but I haven't been the same since. I really like the modifieds a whole lot, but I like all racing, but most especially I like short track racing.
What is it about coming down here to Charlotte to maybe meet some of the guys, certainly you've met Lee Pulliam before, but some of the late model guys that maybe you don't get to see, and just be able to introduce yourself to some of these drivers and vice versa, them to meet someone who's involved in helping support this series.
It makes me feel great because they're all so appreciative of everything that you do. And it's just great to talk to them. They all thank you for making it possible for them to race. And that's really what we're in it for. It's to, aside from getting exposure for our products, is to help these guys, whether this is where they want to be or if they want to elevate themselves up to the other levels. That's what it's all about. And we like short track racing and developmental racing, and this is where we want to be. Of course, now we have 4 series. No company that's in the history of NASCAR has ever sponsored 4 series, but it's worked well for us. That's why we do it. And this is just the coup de grace here tonight.
I actually have the opportunity to travel the country quite a bit, see a lot of the new NASCAR tracks that just joined the program. And one of the first things they always say is like, hey, I love our new caution lights. Make sure you get a picture of our new caution lights. The drivers love it, the tracks love it. How does that make you feel when it's just bang like that?
It makes me feel great, and especially some of these tracks that couldn't afford something like that. When they come on as a member of the All-American Series, they receive a credit from Whelan, so basically they're getting the lights for free. It makes the track safer. It makes it a much more exciting program. And the lights that are at those tracks are the same lights that are at Daytona, Talladega, Homestead, Atlanta, Charlotte, and all of the rest of the tracks.
Now, I know tonight we're honoring the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series champions and such, but the Whelen Modified Tours had a phenomenal season, a first-time champion in the North and a 4-time champion now in the South between Ryan Preece and George Brunholzer III. You've got to be very proud about both of those drivers who have been such modified supporters for so long.
Absolutely. I watched Ryan ever since the beginning, and he's really grown up. He does a great job. George Brunholzer, it's sort of funny. He's won 4 championships, but one year in between there, he came up and raced in the North. Who knows what would have happened? Maybe it could have been 5 straight if he stayed down in the South. Both great representatives of the Whelan Tours, and I'm proud of both of them.
And it's not just putting your name on it for, chest pumping or anything like that. It is a strategic business move because obviously to be doing it for so long, it has been mutually beneficial, not just for NASCAR, but also for Whelan Engineering as well.
Well, that's correct. I mean, it's the greatest thing in the world. We can display our product in the venue that we support. People sitting in the stands, there's a lot of them that use our products, whether it be garbage trucks or tow trucks or utility vehicles, police, fire, EMS, and they can see our product in action. And if they like it, they're going to buy it. And we've seen a direct increase in our sales as our increased involvement with NASCAR has evolved.
You've been to so many racetracks all around the country. Do you have, a top 3 or even a top 1 maybe that you just look forward to going to every single year?
Of short tracks?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's something really special about Bowman Gray.
Isn't there, though?
I mean, the culture there is, and that's what it is. It's a culture. That's really a trip to go to Bowman Gray. Of course, I'm partial to the Connecticut tracks. Greenville Pickens is a great track. They all have something that's a little different and a little special. I love them all.
Here in Charlotte to celebrate the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series partnership and the champions here, you mentioned that so many racers do come up to you, but are you getting a chance to mingle with just the track promoters and such like that maybe you don't necessarily get to their racetracks every single week, and to be able to share ideas? Maybe they have some new product development that you're doing some R&D in your mind as well as getting to meet them.
Absolutely. They're looking for different applications for our products, and they give us some good input. I in turn can give them some ideas and suggestions. We came up with a couple of things today relative to possible rainouts, and the weatherman saying that the weather's going to be bad, and people calling on the phone, and a little GoPro camera on the track, a link to their website, and people can look on the website and see that there's activity in the garage area. They don't have to answer as many phones. I mean, little things like that to try to help the situation and work together, because it is a partnership.
Absolutely. Well, Phil, we really appreciate you joining us here in Charlotte tonight. It's a wonderful event that NASCAR and this whole program puts on, and I know you're going to have a great time tonight and tomorrow night honoring the Touring Series champions, and save a piece of cheesecake for us. We saw him take it out earlier.
Oh, there you go. Okay, I'll do that. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Phil Kurz from Whelan Engineering. And I'll tell you what, Elgin, you're more of a historian of the sport than I am, but what Phil said, sponsoring 4 NASCAR divisions and having their signage all throughout the NASCAR racetrack and the home tracks program, that's unprecedented, and that's really a testament to Whelan Engineering and just how much they support short track racing.
They are a big supporter of short track racing, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm sure if I could sit down and do some research, but we don't want to say anything against what Whelan's done, because what they do is great for racing, especially with the lights and all the other programs they have. He's a short track fan. He's probably been to more racetracks than I have, probably more racetracks than you have.
I can almost guarantee it, because just about every racetrack I go to, I see Phil Kurz, and I'll tell you what, he is a great ambassador to short track racing on the NASCAR Home Tracks program. And the next guy that we're going to talk to in just a couple of minutes is your 2013 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series national champion, Lee Pulliam. And we got a chance to see Lee almost grow as a race car driver, Elgin, because a couple of years ago he was good, but he was still a little rough around the edges and certainly wasn't very well spoken, just kind of shy and everything like that. And you've had a chance to talk to him in recent races, certainly big ones that he's won, like all throughout the Southeast here. But he's almost a different race car driver, and he truly is now a champion.
And one thing we'll talk about while we got some time before he comes up, outside of the NASCAR point season, he joined another team and went to Myrtle Beach, set fast time, won the dash race, and then won the race at a track he's never been to. Now, granted, the team is pretty good. Lee is pretty good, but just how we saw him do it and how calculating it was very much like Jay Beasley when we talked about him defending his turf in the big race where all the cars come. That's what he did at Myrtle Beach, and that really showed how much he's just turned the corner. Not a one-track jack, not a two-track jack, really showing he can do a lot of things. And another series that's not NASCAR sanctioned, but broke up, went in there, and won, not his first race, but won a feature event just to show that he is very diverse, and somebody needs to land him in a ride, help him out. Otherwise, he may be going for that 3rd in a row, which has never been done, national championship next year.
And I'll tell you what, in his first couple of races in the 2013 season at the end with Kiker Motorsports, went out there like you talked about, won Myrtle Beach. Who knows what could have happened, at Southern National late in the year around Thanksgiving weekend. And they're already the favorites for the 2013 National Championship. But Elgin, I want to we call you Stat Boy on Speed51.com. With these new rules and the point adjustments for 2014 with the 2 bonus points for having to start from 11th or worse in the race, do you think that opens up the national championship that much more to maybe get one of those guys like a Keith Rocco or Ryan Preece or Woody Pitkat or one of those guys in the Northeast to maybe get back into the championship table this next year?
It definitely does. If you look at the points this year and you actually apply the method, not taking anything away from Lee, but if you apply the method and give it to the other guys and push their point totals up rather quickly, it already makes it tighter. At the beginning of the season, the points are already going to be tighter. This is just going to keep it tighter longer if we have the same type of numbers. But when Lee wins as many races as he is, there's nobody that's going to catch him.
It's tough to catch a guy that's as fast as Samora, North Carolina's Lee Pulliam for a 2nd straight year, the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series national champion. I got to tell you, champ, last year when we talked to you, it was your first time doing the banquet thing and you were a little nervous. Now you got the everything right in your hands, man. You seem to be more relaxed and excited to be here in Charlotte.
It was a new experience for me being number 1 in the nation, and a lot of red carpets was unveiled for you, and just really neat to be a part of. And everybody worked hard to experience it again, and it's a pleasure to be back here in Charlotte again, representing the Whelan Series.
I got to tell you, winning 2 straight championships, only 2 other guys have ever won 2, period, or at least 2. And, between Larry Phillips and Philip Morris, and you could be the next guy you've already become the next guy to win 2, but you can be the first guy to win 3 in a row. Have you thought about that for 2014 yet?
Yeah, we've put a lot of effort into it. We don't know what's going to take place in the future, but, I've got a lot of people backing me, a lot of people supporting me if we want to run for the 2014 one, and we're working really hard on the marketing side, trying to do some other stuff too, but I know we'll be running quite a few weekly races too, and really excited about all of it.
Let's talk about the win total. I mean, we talked at the iRacing thing earlier, and we'll get back to that in a minute, but 32 races, like you told one guy. And the guy just looked at you like, wow, where did you find time to run 32 races? Because most people don't even get to run that many. You won 32 races, and of course 27 within the NASCAR program. I mean, do you just look back at that and go, I can't believe we did that. I just cannot believe it.
I think actually we won 29 in the NASCAR program
okay.
For the year, but
you would know.
Yeah, no. It was amazing. You know, we run about 50, maybe a little over 50 races, and to win 32 of them, that was pretty special for me. You know, everybody put a lot of effort. It's something where, you know, more than just luck takes place when you win that many races. All your mechanical stuff has to be perfect. All your maintenance has to be right. Your setup's got to be good. You've got to make the right calls on test day, and just everything clicked, and everybody jailed, and those guys always gave me 200%, so I always gave them that much in return.
Something that doesn't happen very often in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series championship hunt is that the first and second place guys raced each other just about every weekend, maybe even sometimes more than once per weekend between you and Deke McCaskill. Is that tough, or is that just another car when you race that 08 car? Are you looking at national points, and, you know, what is it about the two of you that, you know, made such an exciting season in the points?
It was a lot of fun for me just because I knew the guy I was racing and I knew how to beat him. I just had to win on the racetrack and keep him from winning, and that was an easy task, you know, as far as, well, it wasn't an easy task. Let me take it back. That was not an easy task, but as far as racing with Keith Rocco the year before, I couldn't control what Keith did. All I could do was win my races, so being able to compete against Deke and having that ability to go for the win with him every week was big.
Right from the get-go, you led the points. Was there any point in time where you thought, man, we can be beat? Because the lead was there all year, except that 1 week it was tied. Did you ever have any thought that somebody could actually beat you other than you beating yourself?
Really, at the end, I knew it was all about the winning races. I knew we could be beat. We had to keep our program together. We couldn't slack. We had to work extra hard. And, you know, that point where we were tied, it all sank in. Hey, I need to dig a little harder right here and get some key wins. And from there on out, we won the key races the rest of the stretch, and were able to accumulate those points that ended up making the perfect season. It's really hard to get that final 20 points, and it was pretty cool to do it.
Let me ask you this. During the iRacing Champions event at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, which was a lot of fun on Wednesday afternoon here in Charlotte, I saw you racing against Ryan Preece in an SK Modified at Stafford. Both of you guys took your shoes off, which, you know, something a true racer would do, take your shoes off for the iRacing thing. But, you know, does that ever cross your mind, especially chasing for a championship? I mean, would you like to go maybe try a modified, try something a little bit different than your NASCAR late model stock car?
I will sit in anything. You know, I'm a racer at heart, so anything with a motor and four wheels, I'm down for it. So anything like that is a pleasure, and I'd love to go up there someday.
However, your performance in the iRacing thing, not your best this year. That was the one thing you didn't excel in this year.
Yeah, you know, I don't get a lot of time to play video games, unfortunately. We stay pretty busy in the shop. I keep up a lot of cars, so actually that was the first time I've ever iRaced in my life, so it was definitely different.
Absolutely. Well, Lee Pulliam, it's better to be good in a real race car than a computer race car, so I think you got that part handled just fine. Congratulations on a second straight national championship in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series. And was speech writing a little bit easier this year?
Definitely, you know, it just it's really easy to thank everybody. You only get a few minutes to thank everybody for a culmination of a year of hard work, and you know, you wish you had more time, but there's never enough time, and you just do the best you can, and everybody's just proud of everybody that was involved.
Absolutely. Well, Lee Pulliam, another ambassador for the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series. Congratulations on another championship, and good luck maybe chasing number 3 in 2014.
Thank you, guys.
All right, there he is, Lee Pulliam, going to hang out with his crew and his family on the championship. Thanks so much, Lee. And I'll tell you what, Elgin, it's been a fun night here in Charlotte, and the festivities are only getting started because in just a few minutes, Monica Palumbo will introduce everyone. We'll go to Mike Joy and Dick Bergeron, having a great time here in Charlotte to honor so many champions from throughout North America.
Get to meet a lot of people that we don't normally get to see all season, a lot of champions, a lot of rookies, and a lot of other dignitaries in the area that all gathered for this fun festivity night here in Charlotte.
I'll tell you what, if you've had fun like we've had here in Charlotte at the red carpet show for the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series program, we're going to do it all again in one night as we honor the 2013 NASCAR Touring Series champions from the K&N Pro Series East and West, NASCAR Whelen Modified Northern and Southern Tour, as well as the NASCAR Toyota Series, Canadian Tire Series, and the NASCAR Euro Series. And you think we've got a party planned for you tonight? Tell you what, come back here to NASCARHometracks.com tomorrow night, because it's going to be an even bigger night. But first of all, Elgin, I mean, we've got music, we've got action, we've got a lot of fun here tonight.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I know there's people watching that'll be out here on this stage next year or in the crowd. So it's always a revolving door with champions and rookies of the year.
I'll tell you what, we've had a great time on speed51.com covering all the racing action in conjunction with NASCARHometracks.com in 2013. Looking forward to even more in 2014, certainly with the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series Point Championship starting up New Smyrna Speedway during Florida Speed Weeks, at the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing during Daytona Speed Weeks. That's going to be a lot of fun watching the modified, super late models, you name it, out there at New Smyrna Speedway, a NASCAR Whelen All-American Series track. I'll tell you what, folks, my name is Matt Kentfield and Elgin Trailer. We had a lot of fun here in Charlotte. We talked about tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, here on NASCARHometracks.com with live coverage and a red carpet show of the NASCAR Night of Champions with the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East, K&N Pro Series West, NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, and Whelen Southern Modified Tour, and the other touring series. Elgin, we had a lot of fun. Tomorrow night, it's even more.
A lot more to do here tonight, and of course, a lot more to do tomorrow.
Absolutely. Again, folks, on behalf of the entire NASCARHometracks.com family and Speed51.com, I'm Matt Kentfield. I'll be back tomorrow night with Fox Sports 1's Bob Dillner. We will host the red carpet show tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. Elgin Trailer will be here hanging out in the crowd tomorrow evening. We'll be back at 5 o'clock, and we hope to see you then. We're going to take a quick break, and at the other side, we'll have all the action of the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series Awards ceremony.
NASCAR Whelen All-American Series, being celebrated for the 32nd time this season, has brought all of you together. Right here, right now. Keith Rocco, the third-place finisher in the national standings, belongs. Rocco, the 2010 national champion, racked up a 6th consecutive top 3 finish this season. National championship runner-up Deke McCaskill belongs after advancing from an 8th place finish in 2012. National champion Lee Pulliam, he most certainly belongs, having dared to dream of repeating his 2012 championship and now living the dream. Pulliam has a special national champions banner gently waving from the rafters here tonight. Only 2 others, Larry Phillips and Philip Morris, have more than 1 year emblazoned on their own banners. Tonight, every 2013 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series track and state champion stands shoulder to shoulder with Keith, Deke, and Lee. This is your place. This is your time. You, my friends, belong.
From the NASCAR Hall of Fame Crown Ballroom at the Charlotte Convention Center in Charlotte, North Carolina, welcome to the 2013 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series Awards. Please welcome your hosts from Fox Sports, Mike Joy and Dr. Dick Berggren.
Thank you and welcome to the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series Awards. Jason, the NASCAR Hall of Fame, who knows? Maybe some of you will be in there someday. We are thrilled to be here tonight for one of the largest events for short track racers in North America every year. We welcome and honor competitors from throughout the U.S. and Canada, from Ontario to Idaho, California to Maine and Florida and all points in between. The soul of NASCAR will be well represented this evening, as tonight we honor champions and top rookies from throughout North America, top drivers from more than 55 NASCAR tracks, as well as the top drivers from each of those finalist divisions. And we'll conclude this special evening by crowning the 2013 national champion.
And this will be a very special evening for sure, an opportunity to celebrate NASCAR racing at the grassroots level. The passion of those competing in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series is without parallel. The heartbeat of NASCAR is right here in this room, and Mike and I are privileged to be with you tonight. Following another tremendous season, we celebrate your accomplishments. It'll be a lot of fun, and a deserving group of men and women who work tirelessly away from the spotlight will receive much-deserved accolades. NASCAR has shipped 2 tons of trophies into Charlotte for the presentations this weekend, and a good bunch of them are going to be distributed here tonight. This room is sold out. Before we start the award presentations, I'd like to welcome back our good friend and co-host for the evening, Monica Palumbo, who's standing by with a very special guest.
I'm here with the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series national champion for the 2nd consecutive season, Lee Pulliam. Now, Lee, you raced a number of tracks throughout the season, but how do you determine where you're going to go and how far in advance do you make those decisions?
Well, for us, we've been pretty fortunate to have several good tracks around the house, Motor Mile Speedway, South Boston, Southern National, Caraway, and we just went where the most competition was. Me and Deke raced quite a bit and beat and bang and kind of fought all the way to the finish. So it was really cool pulling it off for my team. Everybody gave 200%, and to come out on top, it means a lot.
Absolutely. And this year you joined NASCAR Hall of Fame nominee Larry Phillips and Philip Morris as multi-time Whelen All-American Series National Championship winners. What is it like to be mentioned with those 2 greats?
That sends tingles down your body. Larry Phillips, a legend in itself. Philip Morris taught me so many lessons on the racetrack, and what a talented racer. I raced against a lot of people, but there's not many that's better than Philip. And I'll be the first to say that, and just really proud of what we accomplished, and to have our name on one of those banners, and now to have 2 years on the same banner means a lot to me.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Lee, and congratulations on another fantastic season. Now I'd like to introduce a man who plays an integral role. Absolutely. Let's give him a round of applause. I think he deserves it. Now I'd like to introduce a man who plays an integral role in the inner workings of NASCAR. Please welcome NASCAR Executive Vice President of Racing Operations, Steve O'Donnell.
Thanks, Monica, and good evening, everyone. You know, we use a few short words to describe all the competitors, the operators, and the crew members here in the room tonight. And those words we know are simple, yet we believe they fit perfectly for this series. And that's the soul of NASCAR. So in this room and shortly on stage, as you just saw Lee, you'll meet the men and women that represent everything that makes up this great sport: determination, talent, and above all, passion. The NASCAR Whelen All-American Series, the season was one for the record books. We saw a repeat national championship with Lee. Congratulations again. We saw a diverse group of winners and champions, and we saw star power at every level. And of course, we saw thrilling racing. In fact, many of the championships this year came down to the final lap of the final race. So in closing, I want to thank Phil from Whelan. I want to congratulate all the champions and the award winners tonight. I want to thank you for an outstanding season. On behalf of NASCAR and the entire France family, I want to wish you a great holiday season, and thank you for everything you do to represent this great sport. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Steve. As Dick pointed out top of the show, our hearts are in short track racing and our histories, each of us individually, along with all of you in this room. Memorial Day weekend, I took Daryl Waltrip away from Charlotte Motor Speedway and the comfort of his motor coach, and we went up to the Madhouse to Bowman Gray to see a night of modified racing. And the most amazing thing happened. When we walked in that gate, we were 21 again. Now, those of you in the room who have not yet reached your 21st birthday, have no idea what I'm talking about, ask your dad. Please welcome a man who truly loves short track racing, a man whose support and care has helped elevate this wonderful series. Representing our series entitlement sponsor, Whelan's Vice President for Motorsports, Phil Kurz.
Thank you, Mike. Good evening and welcome to your awards banquet. Whelan Engineering takes great pride in being the sponsor of the All-American Series. Speaking on behalf of the Whelan family and all of the Whelan employees, we're grateful to each and every track official, driver, team owner, mechanic, and team sponsor who competes week after week for the opportunity to be here tonight. We're also very grateful to the track owners and promoters for their support of this series. Once again, this past year, we received great exposure through the various media sources throughout the United States and Canada. Congratulations to all track champions and all state and province champions. Also, special congratulations to Lee Pulliam and his team for winning their second consecutive national championship. Whelan, the officially licensed warning lights of NASCAR, makes the racetrack and the world a safer place. Our involvement with this racing series has provided us with the opportunity to integrate our products into the sport we all enjoy. Weekly racing is the foundation and future of NASCAR. Thank you, NASCAR, for the opportunity of providing us the sponsorship of this series. The Whelan name has become synonymous with warning lights and developmental series racing, and that's exactly where we want to be. Thank you all very much. I hope you enjoy tonight's banquet. I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Thank you.
I'm here with the host of the very popular radio show Dialed In on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, and the special guest presenter of our third place driver tonight, Claire B. Lang. Claire, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're at every single race. You live in the garage. Are you able to have a favorite driver, and can you tell us?
Well, I get asked that a lot, and no, I'm a journalist covering the sport, so I don't have a favorite driver. But I can tell you that there's something special about every single driver that I interview, including all of you in this room tonight, and that telling the story, the favorite story that I tell is of the young drivers coming up, those making a name for themselves, and I'm really proud of kind of unwrapping their personalities as they get older and grow up and come into the series, and I hope I get to tell all of your stories moving ahead. So the favorite drivers are the young drivers as they make their way into the sport.
Now, Claire, you've interviewed everyone who is anyone in NASCAR. As a journalist at the top of her profession, what advice can you give to these up-and-coming stars of the next generation about working with the media, especially when things don't go their way?
Well, first of all, don't ever fear the media. Make sure you introduce yourselves, and I hope I get to meet a lot of you tonight. Come up and say hello before something may happen in which you need the media. But the advice is really simple. That is to be yourselves, tell the truth, be honest, be passionate about the sport and your race teams. And as you tell your story, you know, show your personality. That's a big, big deal. Let people know who you are. And also, if you get into a sticky situation, make sure that you never let a journalist push your buttons. You're the ones that are answering, so don't let anybody push you, and then just be passionate about the sport. And most of all, have fun. And I want to congratulate all of you on a fabulous Whelan All-American Series season, and have fun tonight, all right?
Thank you, Claire. To present the first award of the evening, please welcome back Dick Berggren, who will be joined by NASCAR Director of Weekly Racing, Lynn Carroll, and Coordinator of Weekly Marketing Racing Operations for NASCAR, Brett Tisdale.
Good advice, Claire B. It's time to start honoring our competitors from the 2013 season, and we begin with recognizing our NASCAR division finalists. Each season, tracks involved in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series designate one division as their featured division. Other divisions are designated as 2 through 5. The finalist program is divided into dirt and asphalt categories. We begin this evening by recognizing our Division 5 asphalt finalists, and we start at Stafford Motor Speedway with Johnny Walker. From Kalamazoo and Lake Country Speedways, Jack Cook. Also from Lake County Speedway, M.J. Reed Jr. The Division 5 dirt finalist from Adams County Speedway, Andy Davidson. Also from Adams County, Jeremy Purdy. The Division 4 asphalt finalists from Rockford Speedway, Terrence Robinson. Also from Rockford, Arlen Roush. And from Columbus Motor Speedway and Killcare Speedway, Jeff Watkins II. The Division 4 dirt finalist from Adams County and I-80 Speedway, Joe Zadinda. Also from Adams County and I-80, Tony Hardesty. And from Cedar Lake Speedway, Jason Vandekamp. The Division 3 asphalt finalists from Stafford Motor Speedway, Chase Dowling. Chase, I think you brought your whole family. They're all over there. And from Raceway Park, Blake Dorweiler. Next up, Division III Dirt finalists. And we begin with Adams County Speedway, Joe Plowman. And from Grandview Speedway, Jared Umenauer. And now Division II Asphalt finalists from Bowman Gray Stadium, Zach Clifton. And from Stafford Motor Speedway, Adam Gray. And we wrap up the finalist recognition program with Division II Dirt, and from Grandview Speedway, Sean Merkel. Let's have a round of applause for all these folks. There's the future of short track racing right there. To present, yes, go ahead, you bet. To present our National Rookie of the Year. She got her broadcasting start at Langley Speedway in Hampton, Virginia. Please welcome from Fox Sports, Caitlin Vinci.
The word rookie conjures up images of mistakes and growing pains, but sometimes those images are deceiving. With 10 trips to victory lane at Devil's Bowl Speedway, our Rookie of the Year is one of just 2 rookies who also captured a state championship this season. He is the Rookie of the Year in the state of Vermont and the top first-year driver in the nation. From Middlebury, Vermont, the 2013 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series Rookie of the Year Award, presented by Jostens winner, is Todd Stone. Here to present the 2013 Rookie of the Year Award, please welcome the Vice President of Motorsports for Jostens, Kurt Bruns, and NASCAR's Vice President and Chief Human Resources Officer, Paula Miller.
Always waiting on the women, huh? All right, well, tell us about your first year in NASCAR and what your plans are for next season.
Plans to do the same thing again, race Devil's Bowl, and Plattsburgh, New York, just joined NASCAR, and I also race there.
All right, and what about for the off season? Any plans? Are you traveling anywhere, or are you just staying home?
Well, my son plays hockey, so we're traveling around with him a lot, and we're going to go to run speed weeks at New Smyrna, so I'm pretty excited to do that.
Well, enjoy. Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
You've met our National Rookie of the Year. Now let's welcome the rookies who excelled on the state and provincial level. To assist Kurt with this presentation, Account Executive of Sales for NASCAR, Mike Sandler. Let's begin with a driver who hails from Edmonton, Alberta, where he registered top 5 finishes in every one of his starts. Please welcome Ryan Knowles.
With 10 top 5s and 20 top 10s in 26 races, he is the California Rookie of the Year. From Boyerton, Pennsylvania, Sheldon Deidinger.
Here's a driver who had a pair of top 5s and top 10s in 12 starts to capture Rookie of the Year in Connecticut. From Waterbury, Joey Cipriano III.
With a win in 13 top 10s in 19 races, he's the first Rookie of the Year from Florida, where he finished second in overall state standings. From Geneva, Florida, Anthony Sergi.
A 3-time winner in his first year, this driver registered top 10s in all 20 starts to earn the Idaho Rookie of the Year honors. From Nampa, James Hall.
From Beloit, Wisconsin, he notched 15 top 10s in 16 starts for Rookie of the Year honors in Illinois. Please welcome Joel Clossy.
It took 8 top 5s and 14 top 10s to secure Rookie of the Year honors in Nebraska. He's also Rookie of the Year for the state of Iowa. From Papillon, Nebraska, Brian Kosiski.
With top 10s in every one of his races this year, he took top rookie honors in Louisiana. From Porter, Texas, Alex Scribner.
Rookie of the Year in Maine, thanks to 5 top 10s and 14 starts. From Scarborough, way up. Please welcome Nicholas Cusack.
Four top 10 finishes in 12 starts highlighted his first Division I season and earned the rookie title in Michigan. From Kalamazoo, Michigan, Matt Frazier.
This Shakopee, Minnesota driver notched 8 top 5s and 14 top 10s in 16 starts. To be Rookie of the Year from Minnesota, Mark Hawes.
The Missouri Rookie of the Year is also the overall champion of the Show Me State, thanks to 6 wins and top 10s in every one of his 18 starts. From Sellersburg, Indiana, Cole Williams.
From Candia, New Hampshire, this driver had a win and 14 top 10s in 15 races to capture the rookie title in the Granite State. Please welcome Jake Sturgios.
Eight top 10s and 19 outings were more than enough to secure top rookie honors in the state of New York. From Horseheads, New York, Frank Morich.
From nearby Newton, North Carolina, Rookie of the Year in the Tar Heel State. Had a pair of wins and 18 top 10s in 20 outings. Please welcome Shane Lee.
The Ontario Rookie of the Year award was earned by 2 wins and 25 top 10s in 32 starts. From Bracebridge, Ontario, Leonard Johnson.
In fiercely competitive South Carolina, this driver was able to capture top rookie honors with 18 top 10s in 20 starts. From Pickens, Ryan Walker.
"11 top 10s and 21 starts earned the Rookie of the Year in Tennessee for this driver from Kingsport. Please welcome Tyler Goodwin.
10 top 5s and 18 top 10s in 23 races. Secured this Summerfield, North Carolina native the Rookie of the Year award for Virginia. Here is Bobby McCarty. Bobby was runner-up for National Rookie of the Year.
With a pair of top 10s to capture Rookie of the Year in the state of Washington, from Monroe, Washington, Jason Coe. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2013 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series State and Provincial Rookies of the Year.
Chocolate, your family history in racing is rich. You've been involved in racing for nearly 40 years yourself, and the Myers family has a rich history in NASCAR. How important are the lessons learned at the level of competition for people wanting to have a successful career in NASCAR?
Well, I'll tell you what it's all about: desire, dedication, and determination. You know, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I grew up probably less than 2 miles away from Bowman Gray Stadium. I walked, rode a bicycle, got my mom to carry me when I was a kid. I spent my entire life every Saturday night that I can remember at Bowman Gray Stadium, and without Bowman Gray Stadium, I wouldn't be here today.
Well, I think everyone in this room is the soul, heart and soul of NASCAR, so I'm sure they have that determination. But can you tell everybody as well, how did you get involved with Richard Childress Racing?
I met Richard Childress at Bowman Gray Stadium selling programs in the grandstands. And we went from there. I started helping Richard in 1968. We went to Daytona with a Grand American car. I tell everybody I started helping in Richard in 68. I started getting paid in 82. And I've been there ever since, and it's been a wonderful career. All the days that we spent with Richard, with Dale, with the three, and the three's back. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Chocolate.
Thank you, Monica. To present the 2013 Track Champion Awards, please welcome to the stage NASCAR's Manager of Weekly Racing Operations, Lauren Westcoat, and the Senior Manager of Weekly Racing Operations, Kevin Nevalainen. Corning, Iowa's Adams County Speedway track title was earned with a pair of wins and 12 top 10s in 13 races. From Atlantic, Iowa, Jason O'Brien. This is Jason's first Adams County championship.
11 wins and top 10s in all 18 starts earned the first track title for this driver at All-American Speedway in Roseville, California. From Citrus Heights, California, Jay Lindstrath. All-American has produced a different track champion in 8 of its 9 series with a NASCAR sanction.
Ontario, Canada's Barrie Speedway Championship was won with 9 wins and top 10 finishes in all 32 races. From Hawkstone, Ontario, Gord Shepard picks up his second Barrie NASCAR title. The first came in 2009.
He registered 2 wins and 11 top 10s in 14 outings to capture the title at Beech Ridge Speedway, my home track in Scarborough, Maine. From Turner, Maine, Mike Rowe. This is Mike's second championship at Beech Ridge. The first was in 2009. And Mike and his team have brought a very special guest to our banquet this evening. A young lady by the name of Jordan Emerson, who at age 13 was seriously injured in a racing accident. And she has defied the doctors by hard work and strong rehab ethic. And she is coming forward day after day and week after week. And Jordan, we are thrilled you are here. A round of applause.
Next, we celebrate a 6-time track champion at Winston-Salem, North Carolina's historic Bowman Gray Stadium. 6 wins, 20 top 10s, and 21 outings. It was a family affair. He had to beat his brother to do it. From Walnut Cove, North Carolina, Burt Myers. Burt's a third-generation racer at one of NASCAR's founding racetracks.
The Canaan Fair Speedway track title in New Hampshire was earned with 3 wins and 15 top 10s by this driver from Newbury, New Hampshire, Scott McMichael, who captured his first Canaan NASCAR championship in 2013.
North Carolina's Caraway Speedway saw this driver register a pair of wins and top 10s in all of his 15 races to earn his first championship. From Randleman, Ryan Wilson. Ryan earned the top spot after finishing as runner-up at Caraway last season.
Chemung Speedway in New York features modifieds, and that's what this racer drove to the track championship in 2013, winning 8 times and earning 16 top 10s in 17 starts. From Candor, New York, Jimmy Zacharias. And this was his 3rd Chemung track championship.
Our next champion won twice with top 10s in all 13 of his races to capture the Colorado National Speedway Track Championship. From Greeley, Colorado, Bruce Yackey. This is Bruce's 8th track championship there, beginning 1996.
He's with us tonight as the champion at Devil's Bowl Speedway in West Haven, Vermont, thanks to a dominant season of 10 wins in 17 starts. From Millbury, Vermont, Todd Stone, who was honored earlier this evening as the National Rookie of the Year.
With a very impressive 10 wins in 11 races, the Edmonton International Raceway track champion in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, from Sherwood Park, once again, Erica Thiering, earning her 5th track title in the last 6 seasons.
7 wins and 18 top 5s and 19 starts captured this driver his first Elko Speedway championship in Minnesota. From Lonsdale, Minnesota, Adam Royal. Took hard racing to end Donnie Reaver's amazing 8-year run as the Elko champion.
3 wins and top 10 finishes in all 11 races earned this driver his first track title at Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington. From Snohomish, here's Daniel Moore. Daniel finished 6th last year. Tonight, he's the track champion.
This driver turned in another championship winning season at Grandview Speedway in Pennsylvania with 6 wins and 20 top 10s in 22 starts. From Ole, Pennsylvania, the veteran Craig Von Doren. This is Craig's 4th NASCAR track championship at Grandview since 1992.
It took 8 wins and 19 top 5s in 20 starts to win the championship at Greenville Pickens Speedway. From Easley, South Carolina, Anthony Enders. Anthony's first title gives Greenville Pickens 5 different champions in the last 5 seasons.
Racing late models at another historic Southern short track at Hickory Motor Speedway in North Carolina with 5 wins and 18 top 10s in 20 starts. From Harrisburg, North Carolina, Austin McDaniel. He was the top rookie a year ago, and now he has championships in each of his first 2 seasons.
A pair of wins and top 5s in every race took the title for this driver at New York's Holland Motorsports Complex. From Eden, New York, George Scora III. George was champion last year at Lake Erie Speedway.
The championship at Houston Motorsports Park in Texas went to this driver who racked up 12 wins and 19 top 10s in 21 starts. From Seguin, Texas, Joe Aramendia. Joe has won the championship in 4 of the last 5 seasons that Houston has been part of the NASCAR program.
Our next champion earned another super late model title at Michigan's Kalamazoo Speedway, where he had 5 wins and 12 top 5 finishes in 13 races. From Lowell, Michigan, Brian Bergaker. Second title in a row for Brian at Kalamazoo.
With 4 wins and top 10s in every one of his 18 starts this year, he captured the Killcare Raceway Championship in Xenia, Ohio. From Dayton, Ohio, Donald McAfee Jr. He's got the hang of the place. This is his 3rd championship in the last 4 years.
He totaled 6 wins and 20 top 10s in 21 races to secure the championship at Tennessee's Kingsport Speedway. From Knoxville, Chad Fincham. Chad tamed the concrete jungle to earn the title in his first season of Whelan All-American Series competition.
5 wins and top 5s in all 19 outings earned this driver the track championship at Wisconsin's La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. From West Salem, Wisconsin, Steve Carlson.
I'm well.
This is his 3rd championship at La Crosse, the first in 1984, nearly 30 years ago, and the people who race against this guy says he just gets better and better.
Our next honoree took home the title at Lake County Speedway in Paynesville, Ohio. 2 wins, 18 top 10s in 18 starts. From Ravenna, Ohio, Rick Pierces. Rick is the 4th different champion in 4 years of NASCAR racing at Lake County.
A pair of wins and top 10s in all 18 starts earned the Lake Erie Speedway Championship in Northeast Pennsylvania. From Derby, New York, Scott Wiley. And this was a close one. Championship was won by 4 points.
The title at Langley Speedway in Hampton, Virginia was won with 6 wins and 18 top 5s in 21 races. From Virginia Beach, C.E. Falk III. This is the 4th Langley title for C.E.
He emerged as the champion when historic Lebanon I-44 Speedway returned to NASCAR in the 2013 season, thanks to 6 wins and top 10s in all of his 18 starts. From Sellersburg, Indiana, Cole Williams. And I-44 was the home track of 5-time national champion Larry Phillips.
3 wins, top 10s in every one of his 15 races to earn the top honors at New Hampshire's Lee USA Speedway. Here from Haverhill, Massachusetts, is Thomas Tomborello Jr. Back-to-back championships for Thomas at Lee.
This driver secured the championship at Lima Land Speedway in Lima, Ohio, with 4 wins and top 10s in every one of his starts. From Churubusco, Indiana, Todd Sherman. Todd is dialed in at Lima Land. He has won the championship in each of the track's 3 seasons in the Whelan All-American program.
Magic Valley Speedway, Twin Falls, Idaho. To win the title, 4 wins and 20 top 10s in 20 races for Buell, Idaho's Dan Pearson. Tough one to win. Magic Valley's produced a different champion now 7 years in a row.
A pair of wins and top 10s in each of his 16 starts took home the track championship at Monadnock Speedway in Winchester, New Hampshire. From Bennington, New Hampshire, Bill Kimball Jr. He was runner-up last year. This year he got it done.
Was a Virginia double for this driver, who racked up 10 wins and 12 top 5s in 13 races at Motor Mile Speedway in Radford. and then topped that with 16 wins and 18 top fives in 20 races at South Boston Speedway to clinch double championships. From Memoriam, North Carolina, Lee Pulliam. This was Lee's second championship at Motor Mile, his first at South Boston.
A second championship at Motordrome Speedway in Smithton, Pennsylvania for this driver came by way of 5 wins and top 10s in every start. From Somerset, Pennsylvania, Gary Wiltrout. Won his first championship there 11 years ago.
With 3 wins and 9 top fives, this driver took home top honors at the famed Florida Asphalt Oval New Smyrna Speedway. From Palm Bay, Rich Clauser. Rich is the first Whelan All-American Series champ at New Smyrna.
Florida's Orlando Speedway was also a first-time NASCAR member this year, and its champion recorded a victory and top 10 finishes in every one of his starts. From Geneva, Florida, Anthony Sergi. This 18-year-old was also Florida's Rookie of the Year.
Raceway Park, Shakopee, Minnesota. Our champion compiled 5 wins and top 10s in every race. From Elko, Minnesota, Conrad Jorgensen. This is Conrad's 3rd Raceway Park championship. His first came in 1998.
5 wins and top 10s in every start secured this driver another championship at Revolution Park Racing Complex in Monroe, Louisiana. From Porter, Texas, Brandon Kelly. And this is his 2nd consecutive championship at Revolution.
With 5 wins and top 10s in all 23 races, he bested the field to secure the track title at New York's Riverhead Raceway. From East Islip, Howie Brody. This is Howie's 2nd track title at the head. His first came back in 1998.
Racing at one of NASCAR's toughest weekly tracks, he registered 8 wins and top 5s in all 18 starts at Illinois' Rockford Speedway. From Machesney Park, Illinois, Alex Papini. This is Alex's first Rockford Track Championship.
With 8 wins and top 10s in all but one of his 20 starts, he took home his first track title at Salina High Bank Speedway in Oklahoma. From Coweta, Oklahoma, Chris Theodore. Three years for this track in the Whelan All-American Series program, 3 different champions.
The national runner-up tallied 16 wins and top 10s in all 24 races for a 3rd career championship at Southern National Motorsports Park in Kenly, North Carolina. From Raleigh, North Carolina, Deke McCaskill. His 16 wins at Southern National were tied with Lee Pulliam's South Boston total for the most of any track champion here tonight.
Spencer Speedway in Williamston, New York, where our champion had 4 wins and top 5s in every one of his races. From Oxford, New York, Rusty Smith. Rusty is one of 15 repeat track champions on tonight's stage.
A long-time multi-division competitor at his home track, this driver secured his first championship at Connecticut's Stafford Motor Speedway with a pair of wins and top 10s in 14 of his 18 starts. Here's Stafford's own Woody Pitcat, the hometown hero. Woody edged Ryan Preece, this year's Whelan Modified Tour champ, by 2 points.
All right, settle down. Our next champion had 6 wins and top 10s in all 19 races as a first-time titleist at California's Stockton 99 Speedway. From Sacramento, Jason Philpott. Stockton has now produced a different champion in every one of the last 12 years in a row.
He captured the bull ring at Las Vegas Motor Speedway's championship with 8 wins and top 10s in 14 races. Las Vegas' own Jay Beasley. It was a historic performance for Jay as he became the first African-American champion at the Nevada Short Track.
As I introduce our final champion, you're welcome to come up here near the remote stage for photos of this illustrious group, who's about to be joined by a driver accepting for 2 different Connecticut ovals. He won 5 times in 10 starts at Thompson International Speedway and doubled that with 10 wins in 24 races at Waterford Speed Bowl. From Wallingford, Connecticut, Kid Rock, former national champ, Keith Rocco. This is Keith's 4th Thompson Championship and his 3rd at the Speed Bowl.
Congratulations to all of our track champions on an incredible 2013 season.
Tonight we celebrate so many champions, but also we take pause and reflect upon and remember those dear friends and members of the NASCAR family we have lost this year. They will all be missed.
Every man has his place and time. Everyone has a loved one that they leave behind. And even though I'm not right there with you, I'm watching from a distance, just wishing that you knew. I always hear the prayers in your head late at night. I'm walking right beside you, nobody's by your side. I don't want you to cry over my memory, so go on without me, without me. I hope that it's my love that makes you feel that you can get back on your feet. Yeah, I swear you will. Oh, you got so much of this life left to live, and I'll be smiling at the thought of you, just like I always did. I always hear the prayers in your head late at night. I'm walking right beside you, nobody's by your side. I don't want you to cry over my memory, so go on without me. Every breath of life is short and sweet. So glad that I'm up here, that I got to see you go on without me.
For tonight's invocation, we welcome Motor Racing Outreach, the chaplain of South Boston Speedway, Jim Foster.
Good evening, everyone.
Let us join in prayer. Father, we ask you to be with us tonight as we celebrate our accomplishments and the championships during this racing season. We thank you for the way you've watched over the folks in this ballroom this year and for the freedom we have to enjoy this great sport that we all love. We appreciate the wonderful banquet table set before us, Father, and we ask you to bless everyone who made this night possible. Father, be with everyone that is participating this evening on stage and bless all that will take place. We'll give you all the glory and the praise. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now take a 20-minute break while our hosts here at the NASCAR Hall of Fame serve dinner, and we'll return shortly to start the second half of the show. It is just a 20-minute break. Thank you.
It's just an old beat-up truck. Some say that I should trade up now that I got some jangle in my pocket. But what they don't understand is it's the miles that make a man. I wouldn't trade that thing in for a rocket. What they don't know is my dad and me, we drove her out to Tennessee. She's still here now, he's gone. So I hold on. It's just an old beat-up box, 6 rusty strings across the top. It probably don't look like much to you, but these dents and scratches in the wood, yeah, that's what makes it sound so good. To me, it's better than brand new. You see this here flat top guitars, had my back in a million bars, singing every country song. So I hold on to the things I believe in, my faith, your love, our freedom, to the things I can count on to keep me going strong. Yeah, I hold on. I hold on. Like the stripes to the flag, like a boy to his dad. I can't change who I am, right or wrong. So I hold there ain't never been no doubt, without you I'd be nothing. So if you ever worry about me walking out, yeah, let me tell you something. I hold on. I hold on. Can you hear me, baby? I hold on. Yeah, I hold on to the things I believe in, my faith, your love, our freedom, to the things I can count on to keep me going strong, to the fact
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you are enjoying your dinner. The 2013 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series Awards will resume in 15 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you are enjoying your dinner. The 2013 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series Awards will resume in 15 minutes.
NASCAR.
I'm here with Alan Cavana from NASCAR.com and Marty Snyder of Turner Sports and NASCAR.com. Now, Alan, you've been a regular in the NASCAR circuit this year, and some may call it your rookie season. How's it going?
It's been going great. I mean, I grew up racing quarter midgets, and at 15, you either run out of talent or money. So it's been great to cover it professionally now and really get to tell all the stories on NASCAR.com, and it's been a dream come true.
And you wear blue pants to work.
Yeah, I do. That still follows me around. Blue and orange. I wear different colored pants sometimes.
Your dream come true was to work with me.
Hey,
that was it.
We're twins tonight. Look at this.
Hey, twinsies. They didn't even plan it. Now, Marty, your son Myatt races in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series. You've been to a ton of races this season. Give us an insider's perspective of this great short track racing.
Yeah, I think I went to about 20 races, and I paid for 20 more that I didn't go to. So I think my cousin Jay Hedgecock would say I didn't go to enough races this year. But it's a fantastic series to be a part of, from the, just getting kids going. And my son, obviously a rookie this year, almost won Rookie of the Year. But I have a great Lee Pulliam story. His first race was last year, and this tells you all about the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series. Lee had no reason to go talk to my son or be around him or give him any advice, but he walked up to him and said, "Hey, I've heard a lot about you. I know you're Jay's cousin, and I want to help you. What do you need to know?" And they spent time together talking about the track. Now, when my son qualified well and then drew ahead of Lee, and he was close to winning his first national championship, the advice changed, because Lee said, "Okay, when you see me in your mirror, just move out of the way. That would be a good idea." But no, that's the kind of stuff you get in this series. Guys just helping each other out. You're competitors on the track, but you really do care about each other off the track.
All right, thank you guys, and thanks again for bringing our sport to the fans every week. Now let's throw it back to my co-hosts for the evening, Mike Joy and Dick Berggren.
Thanks, Monica. Glad to have you fellows with us. As Marty knows, in the broadcast business, your career literally hangs on every word that you say in public, whether there's a microphone there or not. You can occasionally get in a little trouble. So a couple of poignant things from the first half of this banquet kind of came together for me. One was when Dick introduced the champion of Monadnock Speedway up in New Hampshire. That's a little bit of a tongue twister. And in the, all of Winchester's here tonight. And in the remembrance, great four-time national sportsman champion Rennie Charland raced throughout New England, and as his racing days wound down, he got himself a radio deal. And Rennie was French-Canadian, and I was a young guy looking for things to do besides announcing at the short tracks, and so I became, for one season, the co-host of the Rennie Charland Racing Program. And Rennie would throw to breaks with things like, "All right, now we got to go pay for some of this here show." So it was very informal. I'm reading the results of the heats from Riverside Park, and I go to turn the page of my notebook. I'm very serious about this, and Rennie's taking his cigar, and he's lit it on fire. And I didn't even know till I grabbed it. It was tough. But one night, we're doing the show, and we're going through the list of results from all the tracks in New England. And I do Riverside Park, and he does Lee, and I do Star, and I do Waterford, and then he goes, and at Munna, and I'm trying to be helpful, so I go, "Rennie, Monadnock." I didn't realize he was baiting me. He goes, "It don't matter, they got rained out." But I'm Mr. Champ.
He was a package, I'll tell you. Before we present our first award of the second half, on behalf of NASCAR, we have some sponsors to thank, and we appreciate them for sure. In addition to our partners making stage appearances tonight, there are several in attendance that we do want to thank. From CD Products, Jeannie Walcott, from Hoosier, Glenn Cheney, from K&N, Caitlin Clement, and from Mobile One, Pat DeDominicus.
Our next award's a very special one, and it's named after a true icon in our sports history, and I believe a future Hall of Famer of this sport. To present it, I want to introduce a young man that I'm a fan of, and he added his name to the record books in a big way in 2013. His NASCAR Camping World Truck Series win at Martinsville in October was a moment 50 years in the making. With that win, he became only the second African-American driver to win a NASCAR National Series race, joining racing trailblazer Wendell Scott. An historic moment at a track steeped in NASCAR history. It was simply perfect. So it's entirely appropriate that to present the Wendell Scott Trailblazer Award, please welcome Daryl Wallace Jr.
Wendell Scott was a pioneer in racing and set a huge example for all of us young drivers to follow. It meant a lot to me to be able to follow his legacy and to be able to earn my first National Series win and share that exciting moment with the Scott family. NASCAR is committed to diversity in this sport. At short tracks across the country, we're seeing more and more participation, success from minority and female drivers. This year's winner of the Wendell Scott Trailblazer Award certainly exemplifies the success a young African-American driver can have when presented with the right opportunity. Please join me in welcoming the 2013 winner of the Wendell Scott Trailblazer Award, Jay Beasley.
Good evening, everyone. This award is an honor. I spent some time researching Wendell Scott and his accomplishments. He was a trailblazing sportsman and a man of skill, dedication, and perseverance. A man that has helped pave the road for today. Thank you, Wendell Scott, and thank you, NASCAR, for this award. I'd like to thank my dad, Rod Rano, for supporting me on what I love to do. It has been a lot of hard work and dedication, and for that, I love you. My mom, Evelyn Beasley, thank you for always being there for me and pushing me to be the best that I can be. Jimmy Sr., Jimmy Parker Sr., it has been a blessing having you as my crew chief. You have shared your knowledge with me on and off the track. Your generosity has been 110% of dedication to building an amazing winning race car. And for that, I love you, Jimmy. Thank you. Jimmy Parker Jr., thank you for being my spotter and crewing on my car. You are a true friend. Michael Tolzman, thank you for being my videographer and crewing on the car. You have done an outstanding job on my videos. Thank you. My sponsors, Wettex Sprinkler Prayer and Landscaping, David Buck, Dana Stahl Race Cars, Spencer Clark Driven, Vegas Machine, Champion Spark Plugs, Simpson Racing Products, Michael Colombo, and Sally Sutton for an amazing website. Thank you all and have a good night.
To present the UNOH Ultimate Mechanic Challenge Award, please welcome UNOH Vice President of Corporate Development, Steve Farmer.
Good evening. One of the great things about working at the University of Northwestern Ohio is seeing firsthand the hard work and long hours that the students put in to become race mechanics. Part of our automotive technician training at UNOH is to prepare these men and women to tweak these cars and hot rods week in and week out at our NASCAR Whelen All-American Series track, Lima Land Motorsports Park. Let me tell you, it's pretty impressive to see what they learn in the classroom and put into shop and practice. We're proud to be able to recognize the top mechanics at NASCAR Whelen All-American Series tracks across the U.S. and Canada. Our 2014 Ultimate Mechanic Award winner has been turning wrenches for over a decade for some of the top young talent in the Southeast, including serving as car chief for the eventual Daytona 500 winner, Trevor Bayne. This year he was crew chief for another rising young star out of Knoxville, Chad Fincham, as they put together a championship effort at Kingsport Speedway and the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series Tennessee title. Please join me in congratulating this year's Ultimate Mechanic, Patrick Dinky Torbett.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank God for letting me be here. And congratulations to Lee and all your crew there. And to accept this award from the University of Northwest Ohio. And it's been 3 years I've been with Chad Fincham, and I can't thank Linda and James more. They believed in me and let me come and help them and take Chad to win a championship. I thought winning the state of Tennessee as a crew chief was big, but I think this award is bigger. I got to thank my team over there. Couldn't do it without them to get this award. First of all, J.E. Blankenship, Tony Cordell, Tyler Reed, Junior McKinney, and I got to thank my engine builder, Robbie White at RW Race Engines. He lets me help build the engines with him. It's been a long journey for me. Come from Englewood, Tennessee, a small town. I grew up around racing. My dad had raced Grand National Sportsman in NASCAR back in the 60s and 70s. I lost my father at age 13. I had the desire to keep going. I didn't have the money. I didn't have somebody to teach me. I built cars in the back of my shed at my mom's house. When I was 15-year-old, I raced at Atomic Motor Speedway, Smoky Mountain Speedway, and built cars, sold them, and learned the ropes of racing. And I got to thank my mom, Dee Dee, my sister Robin, my sister Shannon, and Kim. And it's been a long journey. And the lady that's helped me more than anything for 26 years now, she sat beside me going to the racetrack, and a 16-year-old in a 67 Ford pickup, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, coming down the interstate, laying over there asleep. Until this day, the last race, coming back, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, she's still beside me. I couldn't thank her no more. I'd like to dedicate this award in the memory of my dad, Hugh Lynn Skunk Torbett. Thank you all. Y'all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
All right, Daryl, congratulations on a tremendous rookie season of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. What has it been like for you since your win at Martinsville and being mentioned in the same breath as someone like Wendell Scott?
That's huge. Just want to first off thank NASCAR for giving me such a great opportunity to be in the same sentence as him. So it's cool to be able to follow his footsteps that he's kind of laid down for us, and just trying to take it farther. And I see some, I've raced with a bunch of these guys out here. Deke, I hope he's still not mad at me from, I think, Martinsville a couple years ago. I dumped him, but he's here now. That was actually the first time I gave an award or spoke on stage. So that stuff's for the birds. I'd rather stick to driving because I was so nervous.
I hear you. Now, well, next season, I'm sure you have a lot of expectations for yourself. What is your mindset going into the offseason and for 2014?
Well, right now it's just been catching up on sleep because I have been pretty busy ever since Martinsville, and right now it's just kind of relaxing. I come off a big season there, a pretty tough one actually, up and down the whole last part of that season. But just relaxing, trying to get things in order for next year. Trying to be back behind the wheel of a Toyota Tundra for Kyle. So still working on details for that, and we'll see what we got.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have an illustrious group of state and provincial champions to honor tonight. Joining us for these presentations, NASCAR's Senior Director of Business Development, Bob Duvall, and NASCAR's Director of Touring Series, Brad Moran. We'll begin in Canada, where the Alberta provincial title was earned with an incredible 10 wins in 11 races. From Sherwood Park, Alberta, Erica Thiering. Erica has won 5 of the 7 all-time provincial titles in Alberta.
This driver tied for the second most victories in 2013 among all state and provincial champions, with 16 wins and 27 starts en route to his first California championship. From Citrus Heights, California, Jay Linsroth. Tough place to win a championship. He's the 7th driver in a row to earn the California title.
With 2 wins and top 10s in all 12 of his races, he captured the Colorado State Championship. From Greeley, here is Bruce Yackey. Bruce has won the state championship in 5 of 7 years.
The ultra-competitive state title in Connecticut went to this driver on the strength of 14 wins, 39 top 10s in 48 starts. From Wallingford, Connecticut, Keith Rocco. He has been the Connecticut champion for 6 consecutive years.
4 wins and top 10s in all 20 of his races, earns the Idaho crown in the closest state point race in the Whelan All-American Series program, finishing 6 points ahead of his son from Buell, Idaho, Dan Pearson. Dan is the 4th different Idaho champion in 4 seasons under NASCAR sanction.
8 wins and top 10 finishes in all 18 starts secured this driver his first Illinois championship. From Machensky Park, Illinois, Alex Papenny. 6 different championships in 7 seasons in the land of Lincoln.
With a pair of victories and top 10s in all 13 races, the state crown in Iowa goes to Atlantic's Jason O'Brien. In the last race of the season, Jason unseated defending state champ J.C. Wyman by just 14 points.
He had 3 wins and top 5s in each of his starts to capture the Louisiana title. From Porter, Texas, Brandon Kelly. This is his 2nd straight Louisiana championship.
The state championship in Maine was earned with 2 victories and 11 top 10s from Turner, Mike Rowe. This year is Mike's record 3rd NASCAR title in the state of Maine.
With 5 wins and 12 top 5s in 13 races, he earned top honors in the state of Michigan. From Lowell, Michigan, Brian Bergaker. This is Brian's 2nd Michigan championship in a row.
With 7 wins and 18 top 5s in 19 starts, this driver secures yet another Minnesota state title. From Lonsdale, Adam Royal. 4 state crowns in the last 5 years for Adam, who finished 12th in the national standings.
The first ever Missouri State Championship was earned with 6 wins and top 10s in every one of his 18 starts. From Sellersburg, Indiana, Cole Williams. Cole edged 1990 NASCAR regional champion Mike Wallace's son, Matt, by just 7 points in the 2nd closest state championship chase in the nation this year.
This driver secured the Nevada championship with 8 wins and top 10s in all of his 14 races. From Las Vegas, Jay Beasley. This is Jay's 1st state championship.
With 2 wins and 20 top 10s in 21 starts, this driver earned the New Hampshire state title. From Bennington, New Hampshire, Bill Kimball Jr. This is his 1st state championship.
Eight wins and 23 top 10s in 28 modified starts. Secured the 1st New York State Championship for Candor, New York's Jimmy Zacharias. Jimmy also finished in the top 20 in the national standings.
This driver compiled 16 wins and top 10s in each one of 26 starts to earn the state championship in North Carolina for the 2nd year in a row. And he finished as the national runner-up. From Raleigh, North Carolina, Deke McCaskill. Deke's win total tied for the second highest among state and provincial champions this year.
6 wins, 25 top 10s in 28 races for a first-time state championship winner in Ohio from Columbus, Bobby Justice. This is the 7th year in which the Ohio State title has been awarded. No driver has ever repeated.
8 wins, 17 top 5s, and 18 outings secured this driver the state championship in Oklahoma. From Coweta, Oklahoma, Christopher Theodore. He won big, 114-point margin.
The provincial championship in Ontario was captured with 9 wins and a whopping 29 top 5s in 32 starts. From Hawkstone, Ontario, here's Gord Shepard. Gord's another of the first-time state and provincial champions with us tonight.
This driver is with us for the first time as the Pennsylvania state champion, thanks to 6 wins and 20 top 10 finishes in 22 outings. From Ole, Pennsylvania, Craig Van Doren. Craig finished 5th in 2013 National Championship standings, the highest ranking for a competitor racing on dirt.
With 9 wins and 25 top 5s in 28 races, he drove to the top of the South Carolina standings. From Beasley, here's Anthony Enders. This is Anthony's 3rd consecutive South Carolina state crown.
With 6 wins and 20 top 5s in 21 starts, this racer captured the Tennessee title. From Knoxville, Tennessee, Chad Fincham. In addition to his first volunteer state crown, Chad ranked 9th in the nation this year.
Our next champion rolled to the crown in Texas by 121 points on the strength of 13 victories and 20 top 10s in 21 races, Joe Aramendia. Joe's been Texas champ in 5 of the last 7 seasons.
10 wins, 16 top 10s in 17 starts. Secured this Division I rookie driver his first state championship in Vermont. From Middlebury, Todd Stone. Todd was honored earlier this evening as the National Rookie of the Year.
With a nation-leading 24 wins and 28 top 5s in 31 races, this driver secured his 2nd straight Virginia state championship. From Memoriam, North Carolina, Lee Pulliam. Lee has racked up an incredible 41 late model wins in his last 2 championship campaigns.
The Washington State Championship went to this driver on the strength of 3 wins and top 10s in every one of his outings. From Snohomish, Washington, Daniel Moore. And Daniel is one of 17 first-time state and provincial champions with us this evening.
We're about to bring out our final state champ. We'll invite you to, if you'd like to take pictures, join us in front of or near, but not on the remote stage. The final state champ to be recognized this evening represents Wisconsin, where he had a 5-win and 18 top 10 season. That's every one of his starts. From West Salem, Wisconsin, Steve Carlson. Steve has now earned 10 combined NASCAR championships in weekly and touring competition. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your state and provincial champions.
best short track racers and personalities in the country have descended upon Charlotte this week, leading to some pretty interesting tweets on social media. Let's take a look at some of the best. At NASCAR Home Track tweeted, Scott Steckley, 22, takes on Sobo Speedway 57 champ Lee Pulliam in the NASCAR Champions iRacing Challenge. Stephen Blakesley, one of the promoters at Kern County Speedway Park in Bakersfield, California, tweeted, "A dream is becoming a reality for me as I get ready to fly to Charlotte for at NASCAR Home Track business." Erica Thiering tweeted, "First night in Charlotte. Can't wait to celebrate this week with all the state, province, and track champions at NASCAR Home Track." Erica is the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series Alberta champion for the 5th time. Josh Banana, the general manager at Thompson Speedway, tweeted, "Wanted to go to the NASCAR Home Track banquet for a long time. Honored to represent Thompson Speedway this weekend and honor all the award winners." And finally, Junior Woods, crew member for Keith Rocco, tweeted this: "NASCAR looks like a stop-and-go penalty for Kid Rock Racing on the way to the banquet." Way to kick off your week, huh? Great stuff, guys. Thank you so much.
Oh, we're only 18 days from Jeff Gordonary. So we'll move on to kick off our celebration of the top 3 drivers in National Series points. One thing you didn't know about the hardest working woman in racing, her father was an Olympic silver medalist. Please welcome back the host of Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Claire B. Lang.
Well, good things come in threes for our third place driver. He accumulated points at the Connecticut Modified Triangle of Thompson, Stafford, and Waterford. He battled 3 nights a week, every week throughout the summer. For each of the last 5 seasons, he has finished in the top 3 in the nation. And as we just learned, he and his dad combined for 3 speeding tickets on the drive down to Charlotte.
NASCAR Whelen All-American Series. 3rd place, Keith Rocco.
We had a good season. I mean, I can't complain. We won a lot of races. We won a couple big races, a couple big money shows. There was some bumps in the road, but I'm not going to make excuses. We got beat. Lee took us to school this year. Our most memorable moment this year was definitely the 150 at Waterford. This year we sealed the deal and went out and we were the class of the field and we won the race. The short track level for me is what I was brought up around. It's all I know. My father had me in the garage as a kid, giving me little jobs, little things to do on his race car when he was racing. If it wasn't for my father, I wouldn't be where I am today. It's what we live for. I mean, I could do this for the rest of my life and be happy with it. I've been with Pettit Racing Engines for 10 years, and I do machine work, assembly, dynoing. Working here all week, to me, it's not like a job, it's something I enjoy doing. When it comes to race day, you race 3 nights a week, it really feels like it's worth all the trouble and aggravation, and it pays off. I really never go straight home, if it's race season, get out of work and go straight to the race shop, find stuff to do. Even when there's not stuff to do, there's still a lot of work to be done. As far as, off season, it's nothing I look forward to. To me, the break was going from racing 3 nights a week to racing 2 nights a week. That was the break I needed. My family support is like no other. My wife, her father races, and I race against him. If you want a woman that's going to go to the racetrack with you every week, you got to get one that's from the racetrack. My wife loves to go to the races as much as I do. There's nights that I couldn't make it to the races, and she still wants to go to watch.
It never gets old, that's for sure. I mean, every win it has its own meaning. Sometimes I wish he'd let my dad win a little more, but...
The last 6 years straight, I've been in the top 3 on the podium. That just says a lot for, my team, my guys, and how consistent we are and how dedicated we are. It's not just me, it's the whole family. I mean, it's my father, it's my aunt, it's my cousins, it's everybody. This is what we do. I mean, we know no other way of life. It's racing and that's it. Without these people that are behind me, none of this is possible.
Please welcome, from Wallingford, Connecticut, Keith Rocco.
Welcome, everyone, to another great Whelan All-American Series banquet. I'd like to congratulate Deke on a second-place finish, and also Lee on another national championship. I do have to say, I liked it much better when Lee was suspended the first quarter of the season. It actually gave us a chance to contend. And while we're on the subject, Lee, we all know you know how to win races, but you got to get with the times and get a Twitter account. Even Dick Bergeron has one, and he's like twice your age. Sorry, Dick, didn't mean to make you sound old. I can't believe I'm back on this stage again. I'm really considering starting to save my speeches and rotate them out. I really can't complain about the season we had. After all said and done, 32 wins, 2 Division I track championships, 1 Division II track championship, and in just the last weekend of racing at the Speed Bowl, we broke a 53-year-old record of wins in a season by winning both divisions to put us at 24 wins, just beating out the old record of 23. I also became the first driver in history at the Speed Bowl to win 2 track championships in the same year in 2 different divisions. An old car owner once told me, winning races isn't always fun. I'm still trying to figure out what they were on, because my team and I are having a blast winning races and setting records. So with that being said, I have to thank everyone that helps me every week. Mikey, CJ, Nikki, Sandra, Junior, Greggy, my father and brother, and even though she doesn't work on the race car, my mom for all her support, and my Stafford car owners, John and Maynard Rafano. Also, my Division II car owner, Scott Fern. Excuse me for a minute. Hello? Who's this? Oh, Jay Hedgecock. Yeah, this is kind of a bad time. Yeah. No, listen, just build it exactly like you built Pulliam's car, yeah. Yeah, but listen, you gotta build the right side Nerf bar and the front bumper extra strong. I seen the way him and Deke raced at Martinsville. All right, thanks, sounds, bye. While we're on the subject, though, there's a joke going around this place. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm hoping either Deke or Lee could fill us in. I don't know if him and Deke kissed and made up, but I seen an 08 sticker on the right front corner of that car over there. I'm not sure what the story is behind that, but maybe somebody could fill us in. But anyway, I'd like to get back to my speech. So with that being said, I'd like to thank all my sponsors who make all this possible. D&G Paving, Wheeler's Auto, B&M Maintenance, Fern Electric, Clarence Realty, FMR, Belltown Motors, VP Race Fuels, FK Rod Ends, Frigola Performance Systems, Griffin Radiators, SCF Fuels, Studio Brow, RRJ Associates, Waddell Communications, and our newest sponsor, Mr. Reuter Plumbing, who we'll be teaming up with next year. Also, our chassis builders, Northeast Race Cars, Crazy Horse Racing, and our engine builder, Pettit Racing Engines. I can't forget about Whelan Engineering, Phil Kurz, and NASCAR for giving us such a great series to race in. I'd also like to let everyone know my beautiful wife and I are expecting in January. His name is KJ, and if he comes out across between my father-in-law and I on the racetrack, all I can say is stand back. This kid's gonna make Kevin Harvick look like a saint. Everyone, enjoy your night and have a great holiday.
I do have a Twitter account. Please welcome the co-host of Trade and Paint and the former gas man on the number 3 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet, Danny Chocolate Myers.
He nabbed the state championship in NASCAR's hotbed, North Carolina. As they say, that's a pretty good get. And he won it with the best season of nearly 2-decade career. Our national runner-up won late model races at 3 different tracks across 2 states and had a career best 18 wins in all.
NASCAR Whelen All-American Series. Second place, Deke McCaskill.
We got a different car this winter and decided to race at Southern National and race at Motor Mile. Got off to just a little bit of a slow start with this car. We didn't really get going good till 1st of April. We started running up front, leading laps and winning races. We got caught up in the national championship. We ended up tying with Lee July 4th weekend. We were just kind of surprised, you know, like, wow, we got a shot at this thing. A lot of hard work, a lot of dedication week in and week out. It was just so demanding on myself and my family and my team, but we went after it as hard as we can. I have no regrets, and we'd come up just a little bit short. I was really happy to finish second place. Lee just had a tremendous season.
My dad started a garage here in 1982 in Raleigh. It's a family-owned business. I'm a mechanic, help Dad try to run the shop as much as we can. Started coming out here when I was a little kid, learning how to work on cars.
Dad had a wrecker and had a 1977 Toyota Celica on the back of it. And he said, here's your race car, get to work on it. So I helped him build it, put a cage in it, spray painted a number on the side of it. And here we went to the racetrack and put me in the car at 12 years old and go have fun. Lived here all my life, right here in the big city of Raleigh. I can't remember the last time I left here and went straight home, you know, during racing season, because it's just such a busy schedule. I try to get a lot done as quick as I can. I want to get home and spend time with my family, my wife and kids, but they really push me hard every week, keep me motivated.
My favorite moment this season was probably his win at Motor Mile. That was big for us.
Beating Lee that night was huge. Biggest win we had all season. My crew members, my family, my mom and dad, my children, my wife, seeing the reaction in their faces when you pull in victory lane is worth every minute of it.
Please welcome, from Raleigh, North Carolina, Deke McCaskill.
Keith, how am I supposed to top that? This is my first year up here. I ain't never going to do it, but awesome video, man. Thanks to Willie and the guys from NASCAR Productions coming down. That was just a lot of fun and something I'll remember for a lifetime. Just appreciate NASCAR for all what they do for us. And this year's truly been a dream season for me and my family and my team. 2 years ago, I hung up my helmet and I stepped out of the driver's seat into a crew chief position and didn't think I would step back into a race car, let alone stand here where I am tonight. When I got back into racing, my main focus was to have fun, and everything else would just be an added bonus. That same thinking continued with us throughout the year. When we realized that we had a chance at not only winning the track and state championships, but also the national championship, we really stepped up our schedule and put the pressure on. Finishing second in the nation against such tough competition, I'm proud of all the accomplishments we made this year. First of all, I'd like to thank NASCAR and Whelan All-American Series for giving us this opportunity to compete against some of the best competition in the nation. We've competed at some of the toughest tracks, including Southern National Motorsports Park, which I'm proud to call my home track. We've also raced at Motor Mile Speedway, South Boston Speedway. I want to thank each track for giving us such a great facility to compete at. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Graphics Unlimited, H&L Logging, Mel's Ignition, Wilder's Bolts and Nuts, Bobby Gregory Weldon, Hedgecock Race Cars, and WP Racing Shocks for all his support. A big thank you to John West and David West from John West Racing Engines for all your help over the years. I would also like to thank Charlie and Robert Long for all their help when we made the decision to switch over to Ford late into the season. I'd like to thank all my crew, all their wives, for all their support and time away from the family as we race almost every weekend of the year. I especially want to thank Kevin Herndon for all his hard work and late nights on the race car. Most importantly, I want to thank my family. My mom and dad have supported me since I started racing at the age of 12. As we all know, sponsors aren't easy to come by, but as long as I wanted to race, my dad has always found a way to make it happen. To my beautiful wife, Sandy, and my two daughters, Ashlyn and Amber, thank you. Thank you for all your love and understanding through the late nights and time away from home. I love you. And last but not least, I'd like to thank God for blessing me with the opportunity to do what I love. Thank you, God bless, and congratulations, Lee, on your championship. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Our next presenter spends his spare time restoring a couple of 65s, a Chevy and a Caddy convertible. Free time, though, is kind of precious for him. He's got a real busy schedule. Would you please welcome NASCAR's Managing Director of Touring and Competition, former Indy 500 winning crew chief, Richard Buck.
Thanks, Mike. At the end of the night, Lee Pulliam will accept the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series National Champion. But Lee, like many great drivers, will tell you, it wouldn't be without a great crew, and every great crew needs the leadership of a top-notch crew chief. For Lee Pulliam Motorsports, Winston Brooks helped guide the young driver to his second straight NASCAR championship. Yes. Please join me in congratulating the 2013 Lunati Crew Chief Award winner, Winston Brooks.
Another year. Didn't see this one coming, but anyway. Never quit. Keep digging. Unbelievable. Just a few words to describe our season. I am so blessed to be a part of a team where these words are all reality. I'd like to dedicate this past year to my late father, Maynard Brooks, who believed in hard work, honesty, and with God, anything is possible. As a kid, we were at some racetrack every Saturday night. I was always a kid looking through the fence, cheering down at my local heroes. I never had a clue that one day that might be me. Lee Pulliam was that same kid 20 years later. That's why we have so much in common. Now, every Saturday night, I'll say a little prayer, I'll look up, and find that one bulb at the lights there that's shining down on me. And I know that's my daddy looking down, and he gives me inspiration and confidence in his love. I like to thank the guys behind the scenes for all their hard work. You very seldom get the credit you truly deserve. Our pit crew, my brothers, Stuart Pulliam, Dave Mattias, three-time national champ, Matt Taylor, the Rocket, Ray Long, old grumpy there, buddy. Leonard Warren, Mr. BS, depending on which day you catch him. Ronnie Dunaway, old Hillbilly Jr., he stepped right in there. Our fans who travel hundreds of miles to support us, you guys are the best. Thank you to our sponsors, H.R. Ramsey Construction, Mel's Ignition, Heritage House, Crider Law Office, Olive Hill Welding, Custom Tool and Die, Mincy's Graphics, Brandon Ernest with JRI Shocks. When I first met this guy, I could have sworn he was a double knot spy. He was creeping and looking around under the fenders and all, and we didn't know what to think, so we just started covering up everything, So finally I realized that that's what shot guys do. So good job, Brandon, thanks a million. Don Kowalski and Jay Hedgecock, we couldn't do it without you guys. You guys are the best in the business. Thanks to Whelan and NASCAR for the fine and fair job you do. Thanks to all our tracks, South Boston, Motor Mile, Caraway, Southern National, Martinsville, and Myrtle Beach. Lee Pulliam, Superman, thank you for the 200% you always give. You actually wear a race car like most folks wear a pair of shoes. You drive it in deeper, you get on it sooner, and you're always in total control. That's what makes you a two-time national champion. Nancy and Jenny Brooks, my wife and daughter, you'll never know how much your support, love, and sacrifices mean to me. I love you both so very much. And Nan, might be a little late tonight, so don't wait up. Thank you, God, for making this dream possible. You keep us safe while we chase our dreams. You give us ability and courage, and most of all, you gave us your son. We do wear the number 1, but God, you're always number 1. I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thanks a lot.
2 present the prestigious Lincoln Electric Car Owner Award. Representing Lincoln Electric, please welcome the president of Suggs Sports Marketing, John Suggs.
Harold Pulliam, it's an honor to present this award to you and your entire team. Owning a successful race team takes good management skills, discipline, and dedication. At Lincoln Electric, we pride ourselves with creating the most innovative, cost-effective, quality welding and cutting solutions in the world. This has guided our company for nearly 120 years. We're glad to be a part of NASCAR, where our product skills are used to create incredible racing, along with working with all the teams here. On behalf of Lincoln Electric, congratulations on winning the 2013 Whelan All-American Champion Car Owner. Thank you. I'd like to bring out Matt
It is overwhelming and emotion-filled to stand here in this beautiful city with so many of our friends and family to celebrate our second national championship. To win one was a dream come true. To win a second national is just amazing. I wish all our fans and family could be here to share in these moments. We are filled with gratitude for the safe year the Lord has given us. He has truly blessed this team and our family, and for that, we give him the praise. Words cannot express our appreciation to the crew and their families for the many sacrifices that they have made. At the beginning of the year, there was no mention of running for another national, but as the year progressed, it was clear everyone was on the same page, and the only agenda was to win races. We have spent endless hours at the shop and at the track, and on some weekends when we raced multiple tracks in multiple towns, we worked with little or no sleep and barely any time to eat. We have also enjoyed sponsors who not only help us financially, but join us in victory lane and give us the encouragement we need to win races. Your support and friendship means the world to this team. We can only wish you continued success in all your endeavors. We also have to thank our fans. We have the greatest fans in the world. Not only do they attend the races and join us in victory lane, they continue to support us in numerous ways. They have provided us with some of the best meals in the pits. They have brought treats to fan appreciation, sold T-shirts, and gave us financial contributions. That support is without boundaries, and we are so glad to see so many of you here tonight to celebrate in this championship. I would also like to thank all the tracks that have worked hard this year to provide a place where we can do what we love, racing. We wish you continued success in 2014. Also, a big thanks to NASCAR for the job they do, not only in hosting this banquet, but in bringing good short track racing to the forefront. I would also like to thank and express my appreciation to Lincoln Welding for their sponsorship of the Car Owner Award and their support of racing. There are two major elements of Pulliam Motorsports that I have not talked about. One of them is our car, Checker Catcher. What a car. That car has won 74 races. And last but not least is our driver, Lee. Lee stepped out of our car into Top Gun Motorsports Pro Cup car and won his third race. Kuiper Motorsports gave him the opportunity to drive that car at Myrtle Beach. Lee had never been on this track or driven this car. He won there also. What an amazing young man. You know, they say it's not the price of the wand, it's the skill of a wizard. He gives us all the inspiration we need to work as hard as we do. His love for racing and his natural talent is what inspires us to give him the best car we can. He puts his heart and soul into every race, and we have learned to never give up because he doesn't. It is simply amazing when you think of what Pulliam Motorsports has accomplished under his leadership. We are just a small country race team with an incredible driver who has been blessed with a great talent and a drive to win races. I'm proud of you, son, and I love you. Lee lost one of his biggest fans in August of this year, his Grandma Dawson. She taught her family many things, and in turn learned many things from her by the example she set. But one of her greatest lessons was in humility. She had a phrase she used even when anytime you thought about boasting. The phrase was, "It takes a poor dog that won't wag its own tail." Well, Grandma, the tails are wagging in heaven tonight because your grandson is the 2013 national champion. And I want to thank you, and hope everybody has a prosperous new year and a Merry Christmas. Thank you.
To introduce our 2013 national champion, please welcome a couple of my media colleagues. From NASCAR.com, Alan Cavanna. From Turner Sports and NBC Sports, Marty Snyder.
Dominance in any sport is a rarity. So rare, in fact, that when it happens, there's a word for it: a dynasty.
And our national champion has done something that's been accomplished by only two other drivers in the history of the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series. He scored his second championship 1 year after winning his very first Series championship. And in that category, now you have three people. There's Larry Phillips, there's Philip Morris, and now our 2013 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series champion.
NASCAR Whelen All-American Series champion, Lee Pulliam.
Really right after boxes, went to Southern National and struggled a little bit the first race there. Everybody worked hard and tried to figure out what the deal was, and we come back in next week and capitalized. We got a win at South Boston and a win at Caraway the next day. We went back to Southern National and won there, so it just set the tone for the rest of the year. You know, we had a little bit of a shortcome, but the team never gave up. That's how we fought all year, just never give up attitude. South Boston, phenomenal. We won 16 out of 20 races there, I believe. Just surpassed a lot of records, won the title there. $10,000 race at Motor Mile was a big one that comes to mind for me. That was a big place for us, you know. We got a lot of big car count wins there, and we couldn't have won this deal without each of those tracks. We're really passionate about what we do. My guys give 200%. It's more than a team, they're like family. They would do anything for me, and I'd do anything for them too. I sat in the stands a long time, begging for the opportunity to be able to do it. 2007, Dad was able to get a race car, and we started running limited sportsmen at South Boston Speedway. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't have a clue about the cars. And about our 5th or 6th race, we were contending for wins, and next thing you know, we was visiting Victory Lane, and it just kind of grew from there. I was that little kid at the fence that was begging for that driver's autograph. Now the little kids come up to me, so that's pretty special to me.
Hey, buddy.
This is where I grew up in Memoriam, North Carolina. Just been here my whole life. Just a small town, you know. Everybody knows everybody, and around town it's pretty crazy. You're gonna see people go by with your stickers on the window and blow your horn at you. See people that love us and support us, and then you see the people that don't pull for us too. This was a special place for me. As a kid on Saturday nights, this is where my mom and dad went, and I went with them every week. There's a lot of greats that I watched at this place. To be here and second on the all-time wins list now, that's a pretty special accomplishment for us. We knew if we could just get to that 8-10 mark at the end of the year, if we did that, we had enough race wins, it would be, you know, basically impossible for them to catch us. Just unbelievable. Put you in a list of names of the late Larry Phillips and Philip Morris. That's two that'll go down in history books of short track racing. So I'm just privileged to be on it with those guys. It's my passion. It's in your blood. Never knew we'd ever be able to accomplish all that we did. And it's been a pretty neat ride.
Please welcome, from Memoriam, North Carolina, the 2013 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series champion, Lee Pulliam.
Standing ovation, Lee Pulliam. To present Lee with the championship trophy, please welcome back from Whelan Engineering, the Vice President of Motorsports, Phil Kurz, accompanied by NASCAR Vice President of Regional and Touring Series, George Silberman.
On behalf of the Whelan family of 1,500 Whelan employees, it is my honor and privilege to officially present the 2013 Whelan All-American Series Champions Trophy to Lee Pulliam.
Look at the banners around this room, and you see all the great drivers who have been honored with one of the greatest tokens in all of professional sport, emblematic of athletic excellence and superior accomplishment on the speedway. It's the NASCAR Championship ring, and to make this year's presentation, please welcome the President of NASCAR, Mike Helton.
Before I get to the business at hand, I just want to take a moment to thank everybody in this room. We've been doing this for 32 years now. Some of you in the room was on the first stage getting trophies. Some of the trophies tonight are being handed to drivers whose parents weren't old enough to drink 32 years ago. So that tells you the longevity of these opportunities that each one in this room have presented NASCAR and all the NASCAR fans and the participants in NASCAR who need a place to live out their passion and their dreams. And that's represented in this room tonight. And everybody at NASCAR says a big thank you for that. I hope everybody has a great holiday season. And let's not forget to remember the families of the military men and women all around the world that makes nights like this an opportunity for all of us. Lee, this is kind of a year of joining exclusive groups in NASCAR. And not only are you the 4th champion in 32 years to collect all the points you can collect, a total of 810 is the most you can get, and you got them all. So congratulations on that. But you also, you also become only the 3rd driver in 32 years to get more than one of these. So on behalf of all of NASCAR, I want to tell you how proud we are to have you as our Whelan All-American Challenge Series champion in 2013.
Good evening. You know, I don't think that'll ever get old. I want you all to sit back, picture yourself at your local hometown track on a Saturday night. Family of 3 walks through the front gate. Mom, Dad, enthusiastic little boy. They go by the concession stand to pick up a world-famous South Boston Speedway bologna burger. And then they go make their way to the top of the bleachers to watch the events. Normally, they would arrive right before qualifying would begin. And while all the other kids were busy playing, running around the stands, that certain little boy, he'd never take his eye off of what was happening. As the events roll on through the night and the race begins, he's so electrified, he begins to pretend he is the great David Blankenship, Barry Begley, or the late Wayne Patterson. He drives that make-believe steering wheel and mashes the imaginary gas brake pedal as the cars enter and exit the corner with as much passion as those legends were using within the cockpit. He would always talk his parents into going into the infield some way, somehow, after every race, every week, to meet his local heroes. And on the ride home, all he would talk about was how he enjoyed the race and how badly he wanted to be one of those legends. Now, you might know that story, but that story is personal for me. Fast forward 15 years, and that same little boy that only dreamed of becoming a race car driver has now shared this stage with his mom and his dad for 3 consecutive years with 2 national titles. Never in my wildest dream did I believe I would have the honor of receiving a coveted national title trophy like that one, much less a second one. I fall asleep thanking God each and every night for all the opportunities He has blessed me with. But so many people have stood behind me and helped me attain the opportunity to compete in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series, and none of this would be possible without them. I'd like to start off thanking my crew. I couldn't do it without you guys. Dave, Leonard, Ray, Ronnie, Matt, Dad, Winston, so many behind the scenes at the shop. I owe so much to you guys and all of your families. And I want you to know how much I appreciate all you guys do for me. This is our national title, so thank you for being such a critical part of it. Winston, you and I have become a lethal combination. We're like brothers on and off the track, and when either of us makes a mistake, we still have each other's back. There's not anyone up and down pit road that hustles or works any harder than you do for me. We share trust and a desire to win that's truly incredible to be a part of. Thank you. Next off, I'd like to thank my sponsors, whose hard-earned money has been a big part of our success. H.R. Ramsey Construction, Crider Law Office, Olive Hill Welding, Pulliam Logging, Custom Tool and Die, Mincy's Graphics, Winston's Woodworks, G&M Auto Sales, Jersey Mike Subs, Males Ignition, JRI Shocks, Eilbach Springs, 5-Star Race Car Bodies. Special thanks to Jay Hedgecock and Don Kowalski. Jay, thank you for a great chassis and continued support. You always go the extra mile to make sure we have what we need on a weekly basis. And thank you, Don, for the unrivaled commitment we share. You and your team at Kowalski Racing Engines have always gone above and beyond to ensure that we have an engine capable of competing for wins every single weekend. And I would like to thank all the tracks for your continued involvement in the sport, including Motor Mile Speedway, South Boston Speedway, which both I'm proud to be track champions with too. Caraway Speedway, Southern National Motorsports Park. Big thank you to NASCAR, Whelan Engineering for seeing the importance in this level of the sport and giving us local racers a way to compete on this level. And finally, thank you to my fans and my family for being so supportive of my career. Mom, Dad, we've come a long way since those childhood days of mine sitting in the stands every Saturday night together. You guys believed in me and you worked your butt off to give me this opportunity when no one else would. It's a dream come true to celebrate this title with you both tonight. They say it takes money to be successful. Well, I disagree. It takes a never give up attitude, hard work, big dreams, passion, and dedication. Thank you for instilling all those traits in my life, and thank you all for being a special part of this night. Hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Congratulations to you, Lee, 2 consecutive championships. I'm just so honored to be here tonight. The drive, the passion, the humility in this room is so refreshing, and I just want to say thank you so much. Very happy to be here.
Lee, your speech really said it, and what you did this year really said it. It took a lot for every champion to make his or her way to this stage this evening. The athletic part, driving the car, that's the obvious part. Perhaps the non-obvious part is learning how to deal with the mechanical end of it. So important to you and other champions who have been up here. But there's also the financial end of it. You have to learn how to manage money. You have to learn how to attract money. But perhaps the most important part is the people part. Nobody gets paid a lot of money for working on a Saturday night race car. You have to inspire people to want to be with you, to want to work on your car, so you too can one day become a champion. And for those who reached the stage this evening, congratulations. You did all that, and you're not just a champion, you're a NASCAR champion.
Our top 3 drivers all had a common thread in their speech and in their careers. And it's the most important thing about all of this. It's family. Lee races for his dad. Deke talked about since the age of 12 when he started racing. His family supported him. And the Roccos, like father, like son. How many speeding tickets on the way here from Connecticut? 3 between you? That apple didn't fall very far from the tree, did it? We kid because we care. Chris Myers said that. This is all about family. Our families. Our extended families in the pit area. And our extended families throughout the grandstand, the people who buy your t-shirts, the people who show you up to cheer you, and the people who show up to see anybody else win. They're all part of our racing family, and we love them all. And without that, no one would need to gather here. No one would need to come to the short track on Saturday night. There's a youth movement. You noticed a lot of young fellows and ladies on this stage tonight. That's a great sign for our sport. We need young people at the racetrack. They have so many choices of what they can do on a Friday or a Saturday night. Doesn't always include going to the races. So be an ambassador for your track. Be an ambassador for NASCAR. Bring people to the racetrack, because I guarantee you, and Dick and I have said this for more than 40 years, since our dads wouldn't let us go to the racetrack on Saturday night on occasion, you bring a person to the racetrack, you will make a fan out of them. Congratulations on a great championship, again, and a great speech. Everybody have a great Christmas, a Happy New Year. We'll see you at the races. Thank you.
Hope when you take that jump, you don't feel the fall. Hope when the water rises, you build a wall. Hope when the crowd screams out, you're screaming your name. Hope if everybody runs, you choose to stay.